Woo! Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday. My goodness. I left the warning up a little longer because it's needed. Jen Soto is one of the nastiest human beings you're ever going to meet in your life. But before I get to it, I want to give a very, very happy birthday. Send a huge birthday shout out to someone who is not nasty at all. And that is our wonderful friend, Kimberly. I just happened to see that today's her birthday, but Facebook didn't tell me. So happy that you are spending your birthday with us. Prissy Missy, is today your birthday? Hold on. Kimberly Mann. Now, this is just how my day would start. Kimberly Mann said, girl, it was in July. I'm laughing my ass off right now. Well, fuck me with a hot rod. Okay. You ruined it for everybody. Kimberly, we're sitting here trying to have a damn birthday party for you. It's Prissy Missy's birthday. I knew it. I knew somebody was having a birthday. Son of a bitch. You know, and the joke's on Kimberly Mann because now she has two birthdays. And happy actual birthday to Prissy Missy. I think I'm going to sell my birthday this year. You know why? Oh, hold on. Paper Slut. He said his was September 4th and turned 40. He said, I'll take it. Well, my goodness, we got birthdays all around. Let's hear the music again. And don't say a fatal paper cut. You know his real name. Paper Slut. Happy birthday to everybody that is celebrating, or for those of you that are celebrating Kimberly's birthday, even though she was born in July, birthdays and shit. That's what we're going to start calling it from now on. Birthdays and shit. So I know many of you have heard about this interview that was released. And I cannot even tell me. I'm sorry, you can't even tell me that this woman didn't know, didn't serve her daughter up, didn't encourage it. This is going to be a longer show than normal. Are y'all down for that? Y'all down for it? A lot of people are freaking out about the immunity she got. That's actually pretty simple to explain if you really want to know the truth. And it happens in every case. It's not a proffer agreement. It's not anything like that. Let me just try to give you, in a nutshell, the immunity. She can be charged for anything she spoke about during the interview if detectives get evidence that has connection to the information obtained during that interview. If she's telling the truth, then she has immunity. Don't think they're not done digging on Jen. Don't think they're not. They're still digging on Jen, I guarantee. They had a lot of questions for her, and these questions, anyone can answer a question about their own life, okay? I really wish they would just lock her up for lying, because within a week of Madeline's disappearance, they already said she gave many inconsistent statements. But the investigation is damn sure ongoing. And time will tell. Look at that. Muscles and Mascara said, say it louder for those that can't comprehend. Happens quite a bit. I know someone with a red hoodie on, looking like Candace Wells right now, and 2 thumbs, that didn't comprehend that today is not Kimberly's birthday. But as far as the immunity goes, they prove a crime, they're going to get her. Let's take a second and tell everyone, good morning. Welcome your neighbor. Again, so happy you all are here. Too many things to go through, but we are going to break it down. I do not know in this case what is the most disturbing to me. She sent a text to a man charged with her daughter's murder in June of 2023. Saying it's too risky for Maddie to sleep with her anymore. Now, I'm going to drop the link because I want to hear what everyone thinks about that text. Why would it be risky for her daughter to sleep in the same bed with her? Why? Was she possibly SAing her as well? Could that be? I saw a big argument in one of the Facebook groups. Look, I'm just there for the comments because I dig them. And someone said, it's because she's bisexual. Listen, because someone's bisexual doesn't mean they're going to do anything to their child. Okay? No, doesn't work that way. I do know there are a few other channels. I say all the time, watch where you step, where the mods are saying, we are not going to talk about Jen Soto. She hasn't been charged with anything. One creator is that goofball, Gray Hughes. I mean, look, I'm fully aware that Stephen Stearns is charged with her murder. But Gray Hughes needs to quit trying to defend this woman. They spend a lot of time talking to Jen Soto about Madeline missing her period in February, which is not uncommon for girls. It's not uncommon. If it comes to that, Florida will tack on a charge for that. They already know. People say it's all the pills she takes. I don't really care about her pills. I don't care. Because I think she sold her out. I think she possibly SA'd her herself. She's living with her sister now. She's door dashing. I think it'd be hilarious if True Crime Beat opened up her door to get her vegan meal and it was Jen Soto on the other side of the door. True Crime Beat, do you do a lot of DoorDash there in Florida? I had a few comments after the last show that said this should only be about Madeline, not about Stefan or about Jen. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. You cannot talk about a victim of a crime without talking about the perp and the people that surrounded them. Uh-oh, someone's knocking out the door. It's Beth Fundeski. Girlfriend, your camera's on. You're beautiful, but you don't have to keep it on. Unless you want to. Now, there was a conversation people were having saying, were they going to take her for an abortion? I was having a conversation this morning with Mermaid and with Katie. We were talking about another case of a woman. She's a woman now, but she was a girl at the time when she had to have a couple of abortions. And I'm using that term lightly. In my opinion, any girl under the age of 18 that goes to have an abortion, there needs to be a full-on police investigation. Because you don't know where the baby came from. It could be her dad's, her grandpa's, her mom's boyfriend, her brother, her uncle. In the case of Sebastian Rogers, had they done a full-on police investigation, they would have known that she was with Seth. But I can't risk it. Rexy, I believe that if she were pregnant when murdered, would have been charged with 2 murders. I think that too. You're 100% right in the state of Florida. I lost fun to ski. I apologize. However, the statute never runs out. Never runs out. But they were really focused on her missing the period. Let's see what our friend Beth is up to. Beth, it's been a long time since you've been on panel. What are you thinking about this mess?
I believe that Jen will be charged down the road.
Me too.
She's a hot mess. And I'm really disappointed in her mother, Yvonne, not saying anything or going over to the apartment whatsoever, or even her bio dad who owns the townhome and not. Didn't they see where this Maddie slept?
Yeah, with that partition in the living room?
Yeah. That you can see through. Jen should not have been a mother. And I'm sorry that the family courts did not award Tyler, her father, custody of Maddie. I think there was a parent annihilation going on.
Damn right there was. And you know why.
Well, yes, because Maddie was the dollar maker. I believe that with my heart that Jen and Stephen were making money off of photographs and things that they took of Maddie while she was in a drugged up state.
And I'm glad that you said that. I'm not glad that it happened. But when you think about what Stefan, Mr. Disney, what his father said, he just thought it was odd that he knew he hadn't given his son any money, but yet things were showing up, packages were showing up at their house. And he was like, oh, I just saved some money. I saved some money. Well, I mean, all those images on your phone could be the way that you save some money. I think there's going to be a lot of people going down in relation to this.
Do you think that Santa Cox and his son, it was part of a ring going on?
I do.
Because I mean, he didn't live that far away.
No. And also the church that he dropped her off at is a church that Santa, James Cox, went to.
Yes.
And also he dropped her body not far from his house.
Yes, he did. It was Providence that his tire went flat, and it led the investigators to an area to check.
And explain to me that no working bitch, how could she afford $350 in Botox?
Well, how was she able to afford to stay in her dad's townhome around what, $3,100 a month?
Well, and that was actually simply answered by Chris Stearns, because he said he told his son to move out because he didn't realize he was paying for the whole family. He'd been paying rent to Jen's daddy, and he didn't even realize he was paying for 2 rooms, not just Stefan's. I'll never understand why he would pay for anything in the first place. Stefan has working arms, working legs. He can work.
Yes, but Stefan had to buy his figurines that were hundreds of dollars.
Very expensive hobby they all have. Diana Howery gifted Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Woo, buddy, y'all got your umbrellas? Come on, get them.
Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
Oh, it is. I hit the wrong one, but that's okay. I want to talk about this, and then I'm going to get to the video from the docket. They put a lot of great stuff out. This man does a lot of research, as you can tell. Kind of like someone else, me.
I heard those FOIAs were up to $5,000.
What?
Yes.
Oh, hell no. I'd wait on the news.
Yeah. Allegedly, that's the docket plunder paid for those FOIAs. And it cost them almost $5,000.
You must really want something for that.
Well, they got
June 16th of last year at 9:30 p.m. and 27 seconds, you texted Stefan this: Maddie's no longer sleeping with me. I can't risk it. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Wow. That's crazy. But one person pays and then it's free to everyone else. So other creators that are telling you they also paid for it, it doesn't work that way. The reason I know is because True Crime Beat and I tried to do a FOIA and we were denied because it had already been paid for. Now let's talk about what was said. Listen to this again.
Now, June 16th of last year at 9:30 p.m. and 27 seconds, you texted Stefan this: Maddie's no longer sleeping with me. I can't risk it. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Have you noticed when Jen is telling a lie, she goes very quiet?
She pauses. Then she goes, I have no idea. Girl, you know what you were talking about. You texted it to your boyfriend. I can't risk it. It's a long pause. And then it's I have no idea. I have no idea. Listen to it again. and then we're going to get to it.
Now, June 16th of last year at 9:30 p.m. and 27 seconds, you texted Stefan this: Maddie's no longer sleeping with me. I can't risk it. What does that mean?
I have no idea.
Joy Jones said, if my kiddo quit sleeping with me, I would know why. Why would it be risky for your child to get in bed with you? Whether it's to watch TV because it's a storm, because who knows? She went on to say the sex stuff was not evil, but the murder was. The reason, in my opinion, she's saying that the sex stuff is not evil is because she participated in it.
Of course she did, in my opinion.
She participated in it. All right, my friends, everyone buckled up? Everyone buckled up? Let's start it.
Under the bridge, and either a misdemeanor was committed or it wasn't, but we're not going to be using that as a basis of some sort of perjury by false statements, because those other charges wouldn't be perjury anyways. So the most important thing today is to tell the truth.
Okay. Thank you, Kat, for putting the docket in here. Thank you. He's basically saying anything you said before can't be held against you. But at this point, she's basically been sworn in.
I also explained derivative use immunity, which means if you said that there was a gun, and obviously there's no gun in this case, buried in your attorney's yard, we couldn't go dig up that gun if you told us that, oh yeah, there's the gun that was used is right there. We wouldn't be able to do that. We would have to show that we learned all those things independently from this interview. Okay? Do you have any questions?
So does everybody understand derivative use immunity? Were you all listening up?
Did you have the opportunity to kind of see her cubby part of the living room to see if she had put them on her bed or anything like that?
I haven't seen them.
Does Madeline have like a water bottle or a hydro flask or whatever the kids call it that she likes to sleep with and bring up or bring wherever she's sleeping?
The long pauses, the listen, she knows. Hey, you guys, as this is going on, please hit the like. Please share it to your socials.
Oh, Jen knows
That stays
100%.
downstairs in her backpack, and then she'll clean it in the morning, and then fill it back up, and just leave it in her backpack. That typically stays in the backpack.
Okay. Favorite stuffed animal or stuffed animals? Anything that always goes with her wherever she's sleeping?
She does have a few stuffies and blankies.
Okay, Madeline is 13. She shows absolutely no emotion, none. And she's using baby terms. She has stuffies and blinkies. For some reason, he's asking about a water bottle. Now, if a cop asks you something in particular, it's because they think there's a particular reason to know what's going on with it. Blankies and stuffies.
And this
Did I
is
see
6
any
weeks
that day?
after they
Yeah,
found
specifically, did you
Madeline's
see if she
body.
brought any of that stuff upstairs with her?
No, I didn't see any of that stuff upstairs.
Now, separate question. Generally, habitually, like your attorney was saying, there's a difference between specific memory, but generally, would she do that? Not saying that you saw it that night.
By the way, I'm just going to pat myself on the back for a second. If everyone has time, go ahead and give me a round of applause. Months ago, I said, homegirl here, this bitch, Jen Soto, had an attorney. And I was told by I can't tell you how many people, Bricks, she didn't have an attorney. She didn't have an attorney. This is her attorney there. Every time these people come after me and say I've lied about something, the truth comes out. Thank you, V. Oakley. Thank you. Thank you, Jessica Johnson. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right, Beth?
Yes, Jen got an attorney when Stefan was arrested.
Yeah.
And I would bet that Yvonne and her dad are paying for it. Because I bet she feels that she can't show her face around the community.
Hell no, but she's door dashing.
How would you like to call up and have her at your door and she's been on the news? Wouldn't that give you a pause for thought?
I'd come unglued, and people that get DoorDash and they want them to hand it to them, the answer is no. Leave it at the door. There's too many weirdos out there for a kid to answer the door to get their chicken nuggets. Hell no. Okay?
And do you think she's getting her rugs still from a pharmaceutical or non-pharmaceutical?
Her? Oh, hell yeah, she is. Angel P, thank you for growing the community and gifting 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Look at this. John Davis, True Crime, one of our best friends. He says, Jen Soto is a horrible parent and should be charged with child abuse or more. Because when they confronted her with the text, when she said, it's too risky for Madeline to sleep with me, that tells me she was in on the abuse. When she said, the sex was not evil, but the murder was, that tells me she was okay with the essay.
Generally, what you do, what? Bring
Have stuffies and
Do
blankets.
you feel
and favorite
that
stuff.
Jen was
yes.
essayed by her
She's
dad or uncles
So
in
if
the
Stefan
family?
says something like Maddie's building her nest and getting settled in, would that to you mean like her stuff is part of this nest, or what do you think that would mean if you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you recall getting?
Okay, hold on. This is going to take a while. I told you guys it's going to be a longer show than normal.
Yes. This evening, we had, I had already discussed prior to Stefan coming to visit that he was going to help me take Maddie to school that day. So because I knew that that was what was going to happen that night, I had asked Maddie, pick out your clothes, have everything ready, have your backpack ready, your water bottle, everything you need ready so that way you could just grab your stuff and head out. It won't be too much of a hassle in the morning. And so she did. She picked out her clothing.
She's a
I
liar.
asked her what she was wearing, and she told me what she had picked out. I said, okay, fine.
All right, so she picks it out, but does she physically take it out of somewhere, wherever she stores her clothes, and put it somewhere?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she took that clothes upstairs with her or anything like that.
All right. So as far you didn't see them in your room, and did you have the opportunity to kind of see her cubby part of the living room to see if she had put them on her bed or anything like that?
I hadn't seen them.
Does Madeline have like a water bottle or a hydro flask or whatever the kids call it that she likes to sleep with and bring up or bring wherever she's sleeping?
Typically not. That stays downstairs in her backpack, and then she'll clean it in the morning and then fill it back up and leave it in her backpack. That typically stays in the backpack.
Okay. Favorite stuffed animal or stuffed animals? Anything that always goes with her wherever she's sleeping?
She does have a few stuffies and blankies. Did I see any that day?
Yeah, specifically, did you see if she brought any of that stuff upstairs with her?
No, I didn't see any of that stuff upstairs.
Now, separate question. Generally, habitually, like your attorney was saying, there's a difference between specific memory, but generally, would she do that? Not saying that you saw it that night.
Generally, would she do what? Bring
Have stuffies and blankets and her favorite stuff.
Yes. She typically would.
So if Stefan says something like Maddie's building her nest and getting settled in, would that to you mean like her stuff is part of this nest, or what do you think that would mean if you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Do you recall getting that text from Stefan that night that Maddie had settled into her nest for the night?
No.
Okay. My understanding was that it's
Let's talk about that word. She settled into her nest for the night. Does anyone find that word, that description, to be a little creepy?
To me, it is, because it's when you're pregnant, in the last stages of pregnant, you start cleaning house and making sure everything is ready and clean before you bring the baby home.
Mhm.
It's just an odd statement.
Blankies, stuffies, she settled into her nest for the night. I think they're separating, this is just my opinion. I think they are separating when she actually goes to sleep and they call it a nest. But when Jen Soto says, go to bed with him, that means something different. They have different code words.
Yes. Do you think Jen went upstairs to room 4 and left Stefan and Maddie down in the king-size bed?
That would not shock me, to be quite honest. And that is going to have to be something they really investigate. Rexy said something a couple of weeks ago, and she said, I don't think she ever sent them up to room 4. The number one question is exactly what would be going on in that bed that would keep Jen Soto awake all night. If Stefan's up all night, then he can go and nest somewhere else.
He shouldn't have been there.
No.
They had broken up the year before in December of 22. What the hell was she letting him back in and keeping him around? And then Maddie asking about them breaking up in June of 23. I mean, it's ludicrous. Kick his sorry ass out. But she needed him for sex?
No, because she said that the only time they had sex is when he wanted,
Yes. Backside.
the bun, the backside. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The bun, the bun play. Okay. And she didn't like that. And when this comes out in trial and the medical examiner goes through all of the abuse that has happened to Madeline, it's going to be disgusting. It's going to be horrible. This girl went through too much. Her life was hell. I totally understand why she would tell her friends she wanted to go live in the woods. She can't trust her mom. She can't trust mom's boyfriend. And who knows who else came into that flop house and did something to her. They're going to find a ring. Mark my words, Homeland Security is already involved. No need to argue about it. They're going to uncover a huge ring.
Someone told them it was time to go to bed. Yeah. Do you recall about what time that was?
Around 11 o'clock.
So that's consistent with getting home at 10:30, having this half-hour discussion and eating your pub sub? Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right. Do they comply with your wishes to go upstairs when you say that at about 11 o'clock?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Is there any further communication between either you and Madeline or you and Stefan about, all right, kids, it's time to go to bed, anything like that? Or was that the last you had heard from either one of them that night?
I think at some point, Stefan comes downstairs to use the restroom and then goes back upstairs. But after that, I don't recall interacting or saying anything. So.
Okay. And my understanding is that you had some sort of parental controls over Maddie's phone. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure by parental controls exactly. I didn't have any limits or anything on the phone set up.
Well, like for instance, if she wanted to install Game Pigeon, does that have to go through you?
Yeah. So any permissions for any apps, you would have to ask me for.
All right, and does that ring a bell as to occurring that Sunday? Game pigeon? Okay. All right. So that's the last time you hear from either one of them until the morning. My understanding is that Stefan comes down and is dealing with your dog. Is there any communication other than perhaps Stefan coming down to use the restroom? Is there any other communication that you have between Stefan and Maddie?
Maddie was already gone.
Okay, here is the problem. Well, there's multiple problems, okay? Multiple. Of course, she can't tell time. We've seen that in other cases. This is the official timeline, February 26th, 7:30 a.m. Stefan's car was spotted near the apartment dumpster. 7:36 a.m. Female body, which is Madeline, in the passenger seat as Stern's car leaves the apartment complex. 8:19. Now remember, Jen says at 8:13 is when he came to get the leash. Impossible. Because at 8:19, his car was seen back at the apartment. The body is still in the passenger seat. 9:42 a.m. Stefan's car seen in hotel garage and moving Madeline into the trunk. 9:46, Stern's car seen driving away. 4:30 p.m., Maddie's mom goes to pick up Maddie. Maddie never made it to school. 8 p.m., she's reported missing. Then March 1st, they find her body not far from Santa's house. Her times will never add up, and that's why they said from the get, too many inconsistent statements. What do you think, Beth?
They're going to catch her. They've already caught her. This interview, I believe, was to consolidate her statements and the information they have. We know that Stefan and Maddie's phone were left at the townhome. Mm-hmm. They do have the GPS of where Stefan traveled to and everything. He had his clicker with him. Allegedly, it was not working. I believe he had to go back to get the leash to hold up Maddie's body in the front seat. Mm-hmm. I think he was trying to find areas where to dump Maddie's body, but because people are going to work that early in the morning, it was too much traffic.
Okay, you're right.
And it's easier, he thought it was easier to have the body than dump it and risk people seeing him.
Yep. I agree with that. Kat, thank you for the super sticker. Girlfriend, where is her emotion? This is months after they found Madeline. Trigger
6 weeks.
Not a single tear. Why didn't she go to her funeral? Why did her mother not go to her daughter's service?
And why did Mr. Baker give Maddie's ashes to her father, Tyler?
Why did Jen have such a fit about Madeline going to see her father the summer of 2023? She didn't want her to. You know why?
Oh, yes, because Maddie would have been sexually assaulted in the airplane's bathroom. Or she doesn't know Tyler's friends, male friends, adult male friends, could do something to Maddie, but yet she was letting her and Stefan hurt Maddie. Make it make sense.
It's never going to make sense. And I still think that text, June 16th, 2023, when she said it's too risky for her to sleep by me, is because she was possibly essaying her as well.
See them. Now, I've said communicate. Do you see them? Do you go up and check on them? Do you see Madeline or Stefan from the point you kick them out at 11 p.m. until you see Stefan at 8 in the morning-ish is what you guess for the dog.
No, I didn't see them.
Okay. Now, when you go to sleep, do you sleep through the night, or do you wake up and not have consistent good sleep?
I sleep through the night.
Okay. So there wouldn't be any points in time where you get up and you're taking steps or just checking on your phone because you can't go back to sleep? As far as you remember, when you go to sleep, you're out until the dog thing in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you hear or see anything during those hours involving Stefan or Madeline?
I didn't hear or see anything that night.
All right. What's the first thing you remember when you wake up after having gone to sleep?
I wake up to Stefan trying to put the leash on the dog.
Okay. Now, is this the first time that you've ever woken up to Stefan trying to put a leash on your dog, or is that?
The leash, in my opinion, is dual evidence. For one, dead people can't sit up. Sorry, they can't. Seatbelts aren't that tight. They have give. They only tighten up if someone suddenly slams on the brakes or they hit something. She was strangled. That is facts. And something had to be used to keep her propped up to look like he had someone alive in the car. Hence why he kept saying she was sleeping on the way.
Do you think there's DNA evidence of skin cells around the dog leash from Maddie's neck?
Oh, damn right I do. Yeah. Oh, damn right I do.
Or in my opinion, I'm sorry.
No. Allegedly, yeah. Whatever they say. What's the cool word to say on YouTube? In my opinion. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Because no way that pansy is going to do that by himself. He doesn't have it in him. No way. No way. This is a man that meets up with women to get after their children. Something went down February 26th, and the only thing that makes sense, well, there's two things. One, Maddie could have threatened him and said, I'm going to tell. I'm not doing this anymore. She was grown up enough to know what was going on was wrong. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of hell for that because people are going to say, oh, she knew it was wrong when she was 8. Come on, Britt.
No.
That's stupid. She knew it was wrong when she was 8. Of course, I'm talking about your brain matures. Or tracking her periods and knowing that she missed a period in February scared the bejesus out of them.
Yes, most definitely. Because we just kind of thought, hey, washing Maddie's clothes, mom would know when Maddie was having her menstrual cycle and she would know. But then for Jen to come out and say, well, I was tracking her menstrual cycle and Stefan knew too.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know when they actually met up. Was it 3 times he'd come up from poor mom and dad's home that he hated being there, that he came up for his visits, that she could have been, they're not releasing it. They didn't charge him with 2 murders if she was pregnant.
That doesn't mean they're not going to. They haven't released all that because there's no statute in Florida for killing the unborn. A woman is pregnant. It's not that way in every state. But if a woman is pregnant, there's actually some states that have taken murder convictions away because they no longer, respect that. Okay. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. But in Florida, if a woman is pregnant and you kill a woman, you get 2 murders. But the statute never goes away. So that doesn't mean that that's not their ace in the hole. I'm not saying she's pregnant. I'm just saying that if it is true and her mother was monitoring her menstrual cycles, as she says, as she claims to, I don't exactly know why she would, considering she was 12 at the time. She just turned 13 when she got murdered. I don't know why she was monitoring them so much, except for the fact that she knew what was going on. When she missed that period in February, that's when I think all hell broke loose. And well, it did.
Yes, because I believe that Jen and Maddie were on the same cycle. It usually happens with mothers and daughters, the females. They get on the same cycle if they live in the same house.
Weird. Not in my house. My dad always had a problem. Somebody always had a different cycle. He never got a break.
Interesting.
I want to say this is the first time. It's not normal for any of us to put the leash on the dog on the bed, because if he's on top of any like bed, couch, anything, he'll pee. He gets really nervous. You have to do it on the floor. So I found it really weird that he did that. But
all right, so let me ask it a little more broadly. Is this the first time Stefan's ever come into your room while you're sleeping to take the dog out for you in the morning?
I can't recall if you said it before.
Okay. Did you find it unusual then, or what did you think when this is occurring?
When it happened, I think I was more. I found it off, but I was more worried over the dog. I was like, please don't pee on the bed. I don't want to do laundry.
Okay.
So I was more anxious over that. He put the dog on the leash and told me to lay down and go back to sleep. And I said, okay.
So were you not laying down when he tells you to go back and lay down?
No, when he put the leash on the dog, I shot off the bed because I was going to help him. I was like, no, let me do it. And he's like, no, go back to sleep. I'm fine. I got this.
Okay.
I said, okay.
Now, do you go back to sleep, or do you check your phone or do anything?
I think I go back to sleep.
Liar.
In this period of time that you have been awoken by Stefan.
Okay. She's clearly lying right here. Beth already called it out. Go ahead, Beth. What do you think?
In my opinion, she is lying because she has to be up within 45 minutes to get ready to go to her blood draw. And I believe that if she had a full night's sleep, she would be checking her phone, see what texts has come in. She's lying. She did not go to sleep for 45 minutes and hit the snooze button and then everything else. She had to be up and she had things to do. And it'd be interesting to find out when she canceled her Botox, the $350 Botox
Right.
that she was supposed to have that afternoon.
Right.
Because I think she knew, and I think when she jumped out of bed, that's when Stefan had informed her that Maddie had died. In my opinion.
That's exactly what I think too. And I think that's the reason she canceled the Botox, and she had to get all her cards stacked up in the deck to get ready to call the police.
And that's why the clothes and sheets were in the washing machine.
Mm-hmm.
So she could get rid of evidence and everything, in my opinion. She was, she had to get her ducks in a row.
And do you hear or see anybody else in your household?
I hear somebody in the kitchen. I'm not sure who it was.
Okay. Could you identify it by size, like their steps? Could you identify gender by their voice? Anything like that?
All I heard was sounds of like cabinets shutting, like somebody in there shutting, like looking for something and shutting.
Okay. Now, if your daughter had been awake, would she come in and say goodbye to you before school or not? Just let you sleep?
No, she wouldn't say bye to her.
I would have hoped she would have come by and say goodbye to me. I can't remember if this is one of the first times of
She didn't go to say goodbye to her. You know why? Because she was dead. She was dead.
Exactly right. And I don't believe Maddie was in the habit of saying goodbye to her in the morning.
Nope.
I think
And
Jen and Stefan stayed in bed, and Jen got herself, Maddie got herself off to school.
now, what do you think, Beth, about the odd giggling she does?
To me, that's a sign of nervousness. She's nervous. She's
Okay.
jittery.
Mhm.
And it gives her pause to think of what do they have? What information do these police detectives have?
Mhm.
She's trying to minimize her involvement in all this, and she has to come up with something that's, plausible. And that's why I think that she's cooked her own goose, that she lied in this interview, and they will come back after her, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, she lied right off the bat. She lied right off the bat, saying that she saw her that morning and described what she had on. No way did she see her alive that morning. It's impossible.
Well, I thought this was the time that Jen could go ahead and change her story because they wanted an actual account. They gave her immunity. So whatever happened in the past interviews is the past, and this was a fresh start. But I think if it didn't line up with the information they gleaned off the cell phones, the GPS, the geofencing, that they were catching her, because Mr. Baker, her attorney, is right near her.
Mhm.
And you don't see the actual, I'm going to call it interrogation going on. So we don't know if they would look at each other. We don't know if they were sitting next to each other, if there was any taps on the shoulder, the arm, the hand, to not make her say something or to think about what she's saying next.
Well, and I don't know who the hell paid for this Timu attorney, but no attorney would ever let their client answer any of these questions with or without immunity, because they know the law, not as well as the detectives do. And that's true.
But if you remember in the Valo Daybell case, Zulema Pastenis and Melanie Gibb did get immunity, but prosecutor Rob Woods had come down. So we don't even know if there's a prosecutor for, is it Orange County, Seminole County, if they were present along with these detectives in this questioning.
That's a good question. I don't know if the prosecuting attorney was there, but they definitely have one assigned. And a lot of people have questions. They say, what was wrong with the roommates? If they stepped up, Jen wouldn't have a deal. I think everybody in that house was behind closed doors. It was very awkward to me, very odd to me, that one doesn't speak any English, but they didn't have a translator available.
Where did the 17-year-old stay 5 nights a week? Did he stay in room 4?
That is really up in the air right now, and that has got to be answered.
And then the other roommate had 2 younger children, a male and a female, under the ages 9. Where were they sleeping?
All holed up in those rooms.
But it didn't look like they have bunk beds or anything in those rooms. They look like single beds.
My understanding is the dad was trying to do this as an Airbnb for people that visit Disney.
It didn't sound like the two female roommates with their children were short term.
No.
It seemed long term to me. And
Exactly.
especially with one that is not English as the second language, and her children and everything else. But then again, if this is a flop house or a, house of ill repute, who's to say that 17-year-old and the two younger children weren't abused too?
That's what I'm saying too. Because while his dad, meaning Mr. Disney, Stephen Stearns, while his dad was paying rent to Jen Soto's dad for those 2 rooms, they were getting money from other avenues. And they had, $350 in Botox, all his little figurines for, his game, the crazy costumes that he had for role playing. That money had to come from somewhere. That stuff is not cheap. And I have a feeling it came from the digital evidence that was found on his phone that he accidentally factory reset.
Well, we know that Stefan had a camera in the bathroom
He said he hurt his thumb doing
and was
that.
filming the roommates.
And that, he was late and didn't make it back on time for that reason.
All right. When you leave to go pick Madeline up at 2:30, do you take her phone with you?
I do.
And how is it that you come to get her phone to go with you?
At some point in the morning, I was organizing and putting things away, and I walked into her bedroom and I saw her phone on her dresser. And I just assumed, she must have left it here while getting dressed and forgot it.
Was it on?
Yes.
And sometimes when you bump or move phones, the notification screen comes up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you happen to do that? And did you see if there was any incoming notifications that she had missed?
I hadn't seen it.
Okay. All right. So you go to school, and due to time constraints, like an NFL football game, we're going to kind of jump ahead a little bit. My understanding is that you want to be first in line, and you have to get there early to do that, and I understand that.
Yeah.
She doesn't come out.
She doesn't know.
Did you call her phone?
I did.
Why did you do that?
Because I forgot I had it with me. I was like, where is she? Why isn't she out yet? So I start calling her phone, and then I start realizing I'm hearing vibrating, and then I look down, and I see her phone's with me. I'm like, oh.
Okay.
How am I going to get a hold of her? Because I'm the first in line. The cars behind me already have children. They're full. They're waiting for me to leave.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to kind of jump ahead. Did Madeline ever complain to you about believing that Stefan had taken her Christmas money?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Christmas money went missing. And we were both, I don't even know how to say this. We had collected all of her envelopes with Christmas money and consolidated it into one. I'll put all her money into one.
Yep.
And then I said, I will put this somewhere safe. And I thought I had put it in my nightstand. A few days later comes around, whatever. We start looking for it or asking for it or something like that, and we can't find it. We can't find it at all.
Okay, besides the Christmas money, this is really important. Doxy Mom said in another interview, and we've gone through this interview before. Remember, we have an entire playlist about Madeline Soto. In another interview, Jen says, I took her phone with me because I knew she would want it. Now she acts like she didn't remember she had it. Now, how important is that? Mind you, this is April 24th, 2024. Madeline was murdered February 26th, 2024. The whole, I forgot, the giggles, I don't know. What does all that mean to you, Beth?
Well, Maddie's body was found March 1st.
Yep.
And again, taking the phone, what teenager is not going to want her phone with her. I don't care if you're ADHD. I don't care, whatever. A teenager, those phones are glued to their side, in their hand.
Mhm.
So again, this is why I believe that when Stefan came in supposedly to get the dog to take out to pee, that's when he told Jen that Maddie was gone. And Maddie was running around trying to cover tracks. That's why.
You mean Jen was running around trying to cover tracks?
Right. Because of Maddie and leaving stuff behind. Stefan.
She knew this had been going on for a very long time. Hence why in June of 2023, she said it's too risky for her to be sleeping in her bed, muscles and mascara. Welcome, girlfriend. How are you today?
Hey, good morning. I'm good. How are you all?
Disgusted.
Yes, I can understand that.
Good morning, muscles.
Hey, good morning. And how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
You don't have to work today?
Yes, I am. And I may have to jump soon, but I wanted to hop up while I could.
So give me your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts are, you guys, for me, are spot on with what you guys have been saying. And, for me, this immunity thing, I think, is so confusing for some people to understand. I've heard so many people say, I can't believe they give her immunity. I can't believe this. I can't believe that. None of this is going to matter in the end. That they are literally letting her hang herself. That's the whole point in this. Actually, I think these detectives are incredibly smart. I think that they're doing exactly what they need to do in order to pull down this entire ring, because there is certainly more than one, and to me, there's more than five. So I think that they are doing this just so they can cook the rest of the goose that needs to be cooked. So, and I'm actually I was very appalled by whenever the statement was released about that they are not going to be pressing charges on Jen at this time. I always hung on to that at this time, but I couldn't figure out what that truly meant until this interview was released. And this tells me all I need to know, and it gives me so much freaking faith in law enforcement that not that I needed it, but it does give it to me that they know a hell of a lot more of what's going on than what people realize. And people need to be patient to see what's going to happen at the end of the day. It may take longer than what we all like, but at the end of the day, they're going to get it right, and that's what's most important.
We want a conviction, not an arrest. I know some people, they think the case is over once somebody gets put in jail. It doesn't work that way. You want the gavel to come down and all 12 to come out and say guilty, because this is not immunity from prosecution. That is the confusion people are saying.
Yeah. Well, I want to say that they need the information. They need the facts. So the jury, they can present the jury and put these people away with no ifs, ands, or buts. This, they can go down the road. Hopefully Stearns gets the death penalty and they can put Jen in for life without parole, because she knew, and she was supposed to be the mother. And if she couldn't handle it, she should have given Maddie up to her mother or her biological father.
And I'm here to tell you, those roommates of theirs, in my opinion only, I think that that's part of the ring as well. I don't think that this was all being done behind closed doors, that people weren't concerned. Because I'm sorry, but if you live with your head in the sand like an ostrich and you didn't see what was going on around you and you live there, why else would they have those rooms numbered? It's not because of convenience for renting out rooms. Give me a break. That's not what this is. Not at all. You'll never convince me of that. But I do think that all those there is more than just the ring inside that we know about right now. I think there's a hell of a lot more out there about it.
Oh, yes, because it's near Disneyland and the Universal Studios and everything else. These are children attractions. And children's attractions bring in normally adult male, who prey on children.
Yeah.
And they gave them an open door.
Yeah. And targets people who may be of less less fortunate or
Scrupulous.
whatever it may be, or people that are looking for just a place to crash and burn where they can, those kind of things. All of that's very relevant in this. I'm telling you, they prey on those who are weak and those who are vulnerable. And if you all don't pay attention to that in your life, you're going to find yourself in a very similar situation should you ever be at a situation where you are, in a bad situation where you're vulnerable. You have to pay attention to what's going on around you and the sickos that's around you too, because they will prey on you in a nanosecond.
You want to hear something really sick? And, I believe everything that, YouTube would never lie to me. The internet's never lied to me. And
Right.
they were talking about how these children are targeted at theme parks. One would be Disney. And they're looking for kids that aren't, like what Muscles was saying. They're not, exactly dressed to the nines. They're the ones that don't get the fast pass to get on the rides. They're looking for the kids whose parents tell them, no, I don't have any money for that.
Yep.
They're looking for the ones that come in with the discount coupons.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
And they pay attention to that.
Yeah, unfortunately, when people you think about judging a book by its cover, most people in this world do, and so that's what they're looking for is those telltale signs. And as sad as it is to say, that's what we're faced against, and that is going on every single day in everybody's lives, whether you want to admit it or not. It's happening around you. Pay attention to what's going on around you, because it's our deal. It's our job as human beings and as adults in this world to pay attention to what's going on in children's lives. And if you're too chicken shit to say something when you see something, then shame on you.
Mm-hmm. Looking for single moms, looking for a mom with a bunch of kids. It's absolutely horrible. It happens at Six Flags too, but Six Flags has a totally different security system. They see some dude out there with no children sitting on the bench offering to buy cotton candy for a kid. They throw them right the damn out of the throw them the hell out of the park.
As they should.
As they should.
Did she accuse Stefan of taking it?
I'm not sure if she did directly. We both had the suspicion, but we're like, no, could he have? No, I don't think so. But I eventually found that money.
Okay, I was just gonna, how did the mystery end? All right, so you just started this job at Disney Coronado Springs like a week or two earlier, is that right?
Yes.
And your sister and other family members would help with Maddie getting to school because of your job?
Yes, my mom and my sister, yes.
Okay.
Oh, Miss Hard Worker. This bitch has been canned more than tuna. Okay? She don't care about a job. I mean, the whole, I couldn't be at Maddie's birthday party because of my job, my high important job. She doesn't care. She
only works 5 hours.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 hours a week, possibly 20.
At the most. When you're taking all that Seroquel and making all those films, you don't have a lot of time for a W-2.
Exactly. And here's another thing that I'm going to say, and this is just my opinion, and I have no proof of this whatsoever, but I'm just going to say this. I would love to know how incredibly successful her mother's real estate business is, quote unquote, real estate business is, and was that a secret demise for an office of how to funnel these kids through all this stuff? I want to know if it goes that deep, because I swear to you that if my mother ever closed her eyes and saw something going on with my child and didn't have the audacity to speak up and say something, then shame on her, shame on Jen's mother, anybody that's been around Jen, anybody that's been around that was around Maddie, any of these people that saw this. You don't have to be a smart person to see what's been going on. And I'm not convinced, not one iota yet am I convinced that her mother's not involved in this under the freaking
Real estate.
Under the real estate designation. But that is the furthest thing that it was from. It wasn't real estate for property. It was real estate for something else, in my humble opinion.
Child trafficking.
And I think that everybody that flopped in that house put their application into her mother's real estate office.
Yeah. And isn't it convenient how close it is to the school? Isn't it convenient how close it is to everything that Maddie could have walked there? Well, isn't that convenient? How many other children could have walked there and nobody ever known it?
Can I ask, do you think the school district, the nurses and the counselors had some extra training this summer in order to spot.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. If they didn't, I sure as heck wouldn't have them. I wouldn't have my child attending that school. I can tell you that right now.
We have a question from the chat. Sarah said, I want to know about Mr. Disney's previous relationships. Very interesting, because the police have been talking to an ex-girlfriend of his. Now, they did not redact her name from one of the documents. I'm not going to put her name out there. But other, what's the cool word to say? Influencers, YouTube creators. No one influences my ass. But anyhow, she's going after them. Listen, Buttercup, buckle up, ignore that shit, and get ready to testify. Because they came and they tracked you down for a reason. They need you.
Right.
Isn't she the one that said that she had to be like dead for him to have an enjoyable, pleasurable experience?
It was pretending.
She had to play dead for him to enjoy it.
Exactly. And I don't think this is over even at Maddie, you guys. I think that they're going to be able to go back further and further and further. This ring is going to show all kinds, in my opinion. And I don't think Maddie is this sicko's first victim either. That's my personal opinion.
Mine too. I think he was doing it as young as 18.
I hope that they fry him. I'm sorry. I hope that they put him out in the public and let the public handle him. I am for that. I think these people deserve that. They deserve nothing more, and they do not deserve to live behind closed doors, behind bars, in segregation, so that nobody can do anything to them. All this BS, they deserve to suffer. This child deserved nothing but the best, and she's got the absolute the shittiest end of the stick from her mother. Everybody around her failed her over and over and over again. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm so sick and tired of these cases and seeing this happen day in and day out. It is absolutely a catastrophe. It is pathetic that we allow this to happen in our society, and we have to do something to stop it.
Well, the thing is we as a community here, I think we have 324 people in here right now. Make sure you hit the like, show some love. We don't, but there is a lot of very, very lazy, ignorant Americans that don't know how to get their ass up, go to work, and go to the polls and vote.
Yep.
These people work for you. They work for you. When you get that paycheck stub on Thursday, Friday, Monday, when you see what comes out of it, that pays their happy asses. There is no problem getting a hold of them and saying, what are you going to do?
I'm getting so tired of the mental health excuses, the alcohol, the drug usage. They're hurting these children. It's a cycle. When are we going to stop the cycle?
Yep.
I was called for jury duty. I was there 12 hours. It was, an assault on some children. And of course, after 12 hours, they had to kick me off because no way could I hold my tongue to the judge and gave him my opinion. And he says, in the future, please don't, if you know what type of case. And I said, well, I didn't know what type of case it was, but I do have strong opinions when children are hurt.
They should have a hard time finding a jury that doesn't have hard feelings, my opinion. So kudos to you, because I'd be the same way. And I'd just be damned if we sit back and allow this stuff to continue to happen and not have a strong opinion for it. So if that's you, if people don't have a strong opinion for it, you might need to go check your pulse and figure out who you are as a person, because if you stand for any of this kind of stuff, anything at all, you don't deserve to have another breath, my opinion. I'm sorry. This is our children. They cannot defend themselves. And it is a crying shame that we continue to deal with this day after day after day. It is pathetic. And if this doesn't give you passion, I'm sorry. This is probably not the right channel for you. And you'll probably want to get me off the panel very quickly. However, I'm very strong about it. And I'll just be damned if I sit back and continue to allow it to happen and not have a voice to say something.
But
I'm really interested in what the elementary teachers noticed, because Stefan didn't come into the lives until Maddie was in approximately second grade. What was the difference between the second grade, third grade, and fourth grade? Was there a decline? What happened? And why didn't the teachers notice?
Well, but the other part of that is you've got these kids. She even admitted that, her grades were suffering. They were not doing well. She was almost failing every class. Okay. And she wasn't ever at school. Where's the people that, whenever my son misses 3 days of school and has a doctor's note, I get a freaking letter from, a truancy officer to say your child's missed 3 days of school. Where the hell's that letter at?
I don't know. That's what happened to me when the children in school. If I didn't have a doctor's certificate for their absence,
Heck,
then
I've had
I
doctor's
was.
notes for mine and still got questioned. So what?
Oh, I did too. But I had a notebook.
Where's that with everybody else? Why are we not doing this? It's almost like people want to run away from what the problems truly are. They want to bury their head in the sand because they don't want to think it happens. And it's happening in front of everyone's faces and they're not willing to see it. Pay attention. Pay attention. These kids are screaming for our help. So we're putting our head in the sand.
Some people do. And then there's heroes out there that are unsung. No one talks about them.
Yep.
I think about the case of Aubrey Cunningham. You can't tell me that no one at that school didn't realize that something was going on with her. But they have a way they have to talk to children. They can't just pull them in the office and talk to them as an adult.
Absolutely.
But children are amazing at hiding things because they're taught that everything is their fault. Mom and dad are fighting, my fault. Mom and dad don't have any money for a new game, my fault.
Yep.
Mom's new boyfriend's moving in and he's getting in the bed with me. That must be my fault.
Yep.
The children are afraid and they don't know how to express themselves. And maybe they do express themselves by tantrums or acting out.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to change the system somehow.
Well,
in order
that brings
for
up
these
such
children
a good point. Think about this, though. Think about how this is all tied in together. That's why our teachers deserve to make more than $35,000 a year. That's why our police officers deserve to make more than $35,000 a year. That's why all of our social workers need to be paid more and less hours. That's why all this stuff is factored in together. And the people that are protecting our children and our children alone, when we can't watch them under our own eyes, are being paid less than $50,000 a year. And God help their souls that they're actually the good ones that are out there trying to do the good fight. But that's what we continue to pay them. And we're all okay with that? Sorry, I'm not.
I'm not either. I pay and I vote yes on my, elections to increase the salary. But it turns out a lot of times that it's the administration staff that gets the bonuses and not the teachers that are in the trench.
You're exactly right. That's exactly what happens. Or they approve these budgets for these teachers. I've seen this happen just as of recent, not in my county, but they approve all these budgets for extra money to give these people raises, and it goes to somebody else that's already got their pockets are already padded. We have a societal problem that we absolutely have to get fixed. And it doesn't just mean for people the parents of people that have children. It's not just the parents, the people that we're actually putting our trust in to take care of our children when we are not around are absolutely getting the shit into the stick. And we're not paying them what they need to be paid. So why would somebody that makes $35,000 a year risk that and say, you know what? We're going to pay this person this much money, but we're putting our children in their hands to teach them and give them an education for them to sustain life later on. How fair is that? Like, this is a whole other problem. It brings up a whole other thing. And Brooks, I am sorry. I am lit up.
It gets me so wound up a little bit. Said Brooks, kids can't tell if they do, they get hurt before help. This is such a common problem. When a child speaks out in school, let's say a child is lucky enough to be taken to church every Sunday and they confide in someone and they get the powers that be to go see the home, they get it worse.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my opinion in the case of Summer Wells, exactly what happened to her too. And that's my opinion and my opinion alone. But I think that that's what happened with the CPS case, was exactly where that was. They were coming back. They wanted to see everything taken care of. They wanted to see Summer, blah, 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 blah. I do think that came out to be fruition because of I think that the doctors may have reported potential abuse for the physical that was taken that Summer had to have for school, if in fact all that's true. I think that's why all this happened. But instead of, no, we will not allow this to happen, it is give chance after chance after chance after chance. But then we blame the social worker. Well, when the social worker's hands are tied, what do you expect them to do? They can't kidnap the kid.
Yeah, and they have certain guidelines that they have to follow.
Yeah.
And it's up to their superiors to follow through.
And we need to stop placing the blame on social workers that are trying to do their job, but can only do is what they're told to do and what's within the law. We need to have the freaking laws changed so that this doesn't continue to happen over and over and over again. That's where the problem lies. Their hands are tied.
Yes.
Or enforce the laws we already have on the books.
Exactly.
All right. So we go back to this. She says, because of your job, yes. My mom, my sister, yes, okay. She can't answer a damn question. Now, her mom ran real estate and insurance. Stefan's father is former law enforcement. We have a lot of stuff going on. We have this flop house for people to be in. And of course, Madeline's dead. I don't care what Gray Hughes says over on his channel. I don't care. When he says there's no proof Jen did anything, he's out of his freaking mind.
Well, if there's no proof that Jen did anything.
Stefan on February 26th is coming up to help as
He's got his
opposed to any of
bloody
your
head
family
in
members
the
helping getting Madeline to school.
Idiot.
I had asked for him to come and help me because I think I was working a lot of night shifts or like really late shifts. And I just wanted the opportunity to see Maddie, because I wanted to spend more time with my daughter throughout the week while I was working, versus had she had stayed at my mom's, I wouldn't have seen her all week.
Okay.
So that was just me wanting to see her and spend time with her.
Did Madeline stay at your mom's house fairly frequently?
Every few weekends here and there, like just for the weekend kind of thing.
So like if she described it to her friends as like her second home and like kind of offer up it's better jacuzzi and pool, does that sound like that's the place?
Yes.
Where does Madeline sleep when she's over at your mom's?
She will sleep in bed with my mom.
Okay. Did she ever have sleepovers? Like have friends come over and sleep over?
Oh, no.
Slumber parties, no.
Did she ever go and attend any?
No.
Is there any particular reason? I mean, she's a 12-year-old girl on the cusp of being 13.
Yeah, I've been very uncomfortable with sleepovers just because I know what can happen. Anything can happen in a sleepover.
Well, then you can be the host house like we kind of were. You never hosted any sleepovers for her friends?
For her friends, no.
Did she ask about it?
Yeah, she did ask.
Was it probably a source of contention or arguments?
It was, I guess what was the source of argument was her and she wanted to really sleep over her best friend's house, and I just kept saying no.
You almost get the idea that
I don't know the dad.
Jen was molested by her own family.
Okay, let's not talk over the video, please. Love you all. This is such an important part of the video, but listen to her reasons. She doesn't want her daughter to sleep anywhere. She doesn't want other kids to come over. Why would that be?
Did you hear what she said when she said that? They said, did you be the host house or whatever? And she said, for her friends, no. Meaning there were other children coming over. But for her friends, no.
Yep, that's
very
exactly.
deliberate.
What do you think, Beth?
I think that Jen herself was molested as a teenager, and she kind of knows, and she knows that Maddie's friends, if they were molested in her home, it would get back and their little operation would be uncovered, in my opinion.
100%. Let's look at their code words. Host house. She went to her nest. I sent them upstairs to go to bed. Okay, someone goes to bed. We understand what that means because we're normal people. Okay, I'm going to bed. That means I'm going to sleep. I'm going to lay on my ass, watch TV, and go to sleep. Host house is what really got me. That's the reason I didn't want to interrupt it. I wanted to hear all of that in its entirety. She didn't want her to have sleepovers anywhere else. Now, in my opinion, Jen Soto did not want her to be alone with anyone else for fear she would confide in what was going on at her house, aka the host house. How many other children have been involved or scoped out?
That's exactly why they're taking as long as they're taking, and the steps that they're making. They're trying to make sure that every kid, and not just Maddie, but every kid gets justice when these two get fried. That's exactly what they're doing to make sure there's no more in that freaking ring, because I'm convinced, my opinion, I'm convinced that this ring runs, and it's a lot deeper than any of us can imagine.
I agree 100%, Muscles. This is a pedo ring. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Oh, it is. That's proven. That's proven. Even if the ring is only Jen and Stefan, that's too much.
That's right. You're exactly right.
No, it's the Coxes, but the son who rummed himself, he knew how bad it was, so he offed himself.
That's exactly right. In my opinion, he won't be the last one to do it either. That's my opinion.
They were investigating them in November of 2023, but didn't have the evidence they needed to get a warrant.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
What in the world is going on? Not too long after Madeline was murdered, and they got the images from Stephen Stern's phone, Homeland Security. I'm not talking about the local cops. I'm not talking about some shitbagger. Homeland Security shows up. What's old boy do?
Yep.
He decides to check into hell early.
That's right.
You have 4,500 videos and images on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why that phone evidence, that technology, and all the different digital evidence that's went out. I'm gonna tell you something. That has got a bunch of people's privates in a in a sling, and that every person that was sent to, any person that paid for all of that stuff is going to come to light in this. That is why they are not arresting her at this time. They are not pressing charges on her, and I full-heartedly believe at this time is the key words that everybody needs to hone in on. And there's a reason why. Let this work itself out, because I'm telling you, they're going to bring down a huge ring of people, and I can't wait to watch it happen.
And they have been investigating because one of the initial reports, one of the first articles, was 17,000 images.
Yep.
Okay. Then they tacked on like 60 more charges.
That's right.
We're up to 35,000 images. You can't tell me there's not more.
That's right. Amen.
What happened to you? Just afraid of her getting assaulted.
Okay. Did Madeline do her own laundry?
Yeah.
Did she cook for herself?
Okay, this is one of my first questions I had when I started covering this case. How did she not ever see, and this is something only a woman would ask. Men would not put this together. No offense to the men that are in chat or listening. But this is really important. He comes right out in the way he slides that in. Did Madeline do her own laundry? Without hesitation, she goes, yes. Okay, you know why she has to say that? Because she knows that she saw things in her daughter's underwear, shorts, jeans, skirts,
Sheets,
blankets, sheets,
bedding.
you name it.
Yes, ma'am. You got
Yep.
it.
She didn't have any you're telling me at 8 years old she did her own laundry? No. Shut up with that.
Yep.
Teaching her how to make a few things. So I mean, yeah, she could, I guess.
Okay. What's her normal routine for getting ready for bed?
We give her her meds.
I'm sorry, take your time.
We get ready for bed. I'd give her her medication. She would get in the shower.
Take a long shower, I understand.
Like an hour plus, yeah.
Okay.
She loved it. She'd get out, she'd get dressed, she'd let her hair towel dry for a while, and then she would brush it. We would watch some TV. She'd probably have a snack before bed as well.
Okay. What were kind of her nighttime uniforms? I mean, everybody kind of has their pajamas, but they're not necessarily pajamas. What was her routine nightwear?
I want to talk about the hour in the shower. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
I want to talk about that. I'm not trying to be grim. I'm thinking about the case of Morgan Keene and Argelio Pupo when she was allowing Argelio to teach her daughter how babies are made. So their code word was peach milkshake. Do you want a peach milkshake? And by the way, they're both in jail, actually in Florida. I think it's in Orange County. And when her daughter would take a shower, she would say, stay in there at least an hour. That's to get evidence off. Now, this woman also, when Argelio inserted something, she took her daughter to Target, bought a sewing kit to fix the tear. So when I hear Jen Soto saying things like she would be in the shower for an hour, no child is going to stand there under the damn water. And any of us that are parents, when our kids have lights on or they're running the damn water, we say, damn it, you got to be clean by now. Get the hell out of there.
Yep.
Or turn the lights off.
Yep. And I also thought that it could be if it was on Maddie's own will to stay in there that long, it was to prolong the inevitable for what was getting ready to happen to her too.
In my opinion, I thought that Maddie was trying to scrub the feeling of, icky on her body and everything. And that's probably where she cried because what was happening to her.
I think she was trying to delay the inevitable. And I also think that if you notice, she got super emotional when they started talking about bedtime meds. She stopped and started crying. Okay. Well, that tells me that there's something emotional behind bedtime meds. And that's probably what they did to actually get her sedated to some sort so that she wouldn't put up a fight. My opinion.
Oh, yeah, because the roommates would know about it. They would hear the noise. They would hear the crying. They would hear Maddie trying to fight if she wasn't under some sort of medication.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Well, I mean, look at what the ex-girlfriend said, and I can't say her name on here. she said that she had to, act like she was dead. Ted Bundy's, and I'm not comparing him to Ted Bundy because there's no comparison to Ted Bundy. I hate when people try to compare people to Ted Bundy, but he enjoyed the dead feeling. Angie, baby, thank you for being here. 19 months, my goodness. What am I going to do with you girls?
She really liked wearing shorts. So she had a few pajama outfits, but she really liked wearing shorts and baggy t-shirts.
Okay. How about her routine getting ready for school in the morning? What's that about?
We'd wake up. The alarm would start ringing around 7:30. We'd snooze it up until 8 o'clock. Then she'd get up. She'd get dressed. And then she'd lay back down in bed while she would wait for me to make her breakfast.
So she's a breakfast eater? Okay.
She'd have breakfast. Then she would start, with brushing her hair, brushing her teeth, putting on makeup. At night, I would give her ADHD medications for school.
Is that every day or just school day?
Okay, why was Jen Soto taking Adderall? Yet she says that the ADHD medications were for Madeline. I think she was taking them to wake herself up from all the Seroquel she was taking.
Yep. And I also think that he used her Ativan to go to bed at night too, because they were taking Maddie's medicines. That's my opinion.
Well, wait a minute. I thought that Maddie brushed her teeth only in the shower.
Oh,
I thought that was said from Jen.
It was.
Good catch. Good catch.
And now she's brushing her teeth. Why wasn't Maddie taking a shower in the morning to get the stench off of her body?
My understanding is, just from what Stefan's father said, it was kind of an up all night, sleep all day thing.
Yep.
And Angie, baby, thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you, Nisa. Thank you. Thank you, Pat K, for making it rain. I love you guys. I love you. Love you. There's just too much to unpack here. And no pun intended, I think all the Miralax is because Stefan preferred the back door. That has been confirmed by Jen Soto and confirmed by his ex-girlfriend. For him to be intimate, it had to be the back door. Okay?
I think it was the front door up until Maddie started her meniscus. And then he went to the back door and front door with her.
So her mother, excuse me, starts giving her all the Miralax. Her father said he had never heard of any constipation problems before.
I wonder if there was some scares earlier with the possibility of Maddie becoming pregnant.
Well, they're dumbasses. They're dumbasses because when a girl starts her period, it's off and on. It's off and on. You might go 3-4 months without one. And then, you might go for 12 days. And I understand a lot of people are saying that Jen was probably essayed herself. That certainly is not out of the realm of possibility. But what abused child? When does it give them the right to abuse another child?
Exactly. Or to stand by and allow it to happen. Because for me, you should know exactly what that trauma feels like. And you'd stand there and you'd allow that to happen, knowing what you went through. For me, that's an even word of a sign for you to be like, you're not going to do this to my child because I know what that feels like and I'll just be damned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but Jen needed the money. She really wasn't working all that much and never really had a full-time job for any length of period. I think I heard was 2 years, but I don't know if that was 10 hours a week, 20 hours a week for 2 years. She didn't work a 40-hour job.
That bitch barely got out of bed. The most ambition she ever showed was dog walking, and she said, I'm here 24/7.
Oh, don't forget the Botox and going to the doctors.
Well, she's got to do that too. Where's she getting the money for that?
Please. So it sounds like you're heading out like 8:45 or 9?
Yes.
And it takes like, what did you say, 15, 20 minutes to get to school?
Yes.
And first bell's 9:38?
9:20.
Something like that?
9:20,
Okay.
yeah.
So on Monday the 26th, 7:30 seems like a really early time to depart to go to middle school, even if you're getting Mickey D's. What was the discussion about when Stefan and Madeline were going to leave on the 26th?
There wasn't one.
So you didn't know anything about these plans, or did you? Or
I knew that they were going to go to McDonald's, but not 7 o'clock in the morning. That wasn't.
okay.
I had assumed like 8 o'clock.
And-
But even then, 8 o'clock is kind of early, like 8:30, because you could just go to McDonald's, be done by 9, and then drop her off at school. But the McDonald's is right the block away from the school. So
And Madeline's not driving, so she can eat while she's riding.
yeah. So I
And she
don't.
takes about an hour to get ready in the morning?
Mhm.
Yes?
Yes.
So if they were leaving at 7:30, you'd think she'd have to get up at 6:30 to get ready and go through a routine, right?
Yeah, that's extremely early.
And is that what Stefan told you after these events unfolded, was that they left early, like 7:30? What did he ever tell you?
It was early. I can't remember the time. I think I dropped her off in front of her school sometime between 8:15 and 8:45.
You say I. What do you mean by that? Did you drop her off that
No,
morning?
I'm speaking, sorry. And
Okay.
as what Stefan was telling me. Stefan let me know that he dropped her off sometime between 8:15 and 8:45 on the road by the church close to her school.
Mhm.
And I remember asking him, why so early? That's too early. School doesn't start until 9:30. Why did you drop her off that early? Oh, I don't know. We just left the house and made good time. I wasn't paying attention to the clock.
Okay. Did Madeline ever have like effects from taking the hydroxyzine in the morning? Like still be kind of sluggish?
Yes.
How often would that occur? Was that like every morning or not every morning?
Not every morning. If we happen to give her medication later than normal than routine, that would happen. But
And were there ever any instances where she had taken too much of the medicine? Perhaps you and Stefan had given her medicine, not knowing that the other person had?
yes, that's happened once
How many-
before.
Just once or more?
I would say once.
Were you taking medicinal marijuana in pill form at any point for THC?
Yes.
And what do those pills or tablets or capsules look like?
They're purple capsules.
Did you ever suspect or confront Stefan about giving those medications to Madeline?
No.
So during this incident where Madeline had been double dosed with hydroxyzine, do you recall any conversation you had with Stefan and inquiring as to whether or not he had accidentally given her any of your THC?
That hadn't occurred to me. I had asked him.
Peculiar question right there.
Do you remember texting the biological father, hope nobody touches Maddie or tries shit or films her under the bathroom? You remember sending that text?
Let's talk about this. A child is going to see their father. I hope no one touches her or films her under the bathroom. Let's listen to that again.
He does visit a few more times after that, but for the day. And it's to pick up packages. He keeps getting mail delivered to my house, packages. So he just comes up and picks them up.
Okay, so if he keeps getting packages delivered to her house, but he was only there 2 to 3 times from December to February, I guarantee the digital evidence is going to show something different. She is so worried about her daughter going to sleepovers, having sleepovers at the house, and the way she is so specific. I hope no one touches her or films her under the bathroom door. Make it make sense, someone.
Oh, Stefan was doing that to the roommates. I think there
And when
was
he
photos.
comes to visit after he's been kind of kicked out, is he paying rent, or how is this working, or is he just coming to visit?
He's just coming to visit.
Is your father making any arrangements to rent bedroom number 4? Because this is his income that he's losing.
Yeah, we had it. We had like an ad posted to see if we can get any renters. So we were trying to rent it out, but then we had to stop.
And what happens if you had ended up renting room number 4? Is Stefan going to still come up and visit you and sleep in your bed?
I don't know. I hadn't even thought of it at that point.
At one point, you told investigators that Stefan was quote unquote stuck down there until they could afford for him to come back. Were there plans for him to come back?
We had discussed him coming back and living with me. We weren't sure if temporarily or like for me to help him out with the place for a little bit before he can find his own place and move out. Or we were also considering talking about living together as like a companionship. With my best friend who's helping me out with my child.
Because you told investigators that a lot of the reason your relationship fizzled off with Stefan was that your antidepressants.
Okay, I'm going to pause it there for a second. This guy on the docket has a really good point because there's a lot of questions about Madeline's Christmas money. Yvonne on TikTok, and I'm not a TikToker. I can't keep up with it, okay? I'm just not. I know a lot of you do it. Good for you. I'm just not good at it. Anyhow, she had a lot of questions about Madeline's Christmas money. Madeline had almost $500 in Christmas money, and it's gone. Imagine what these two did to make her get her money back.
Mm-hmm.
She had a lot of money given to her at her birthday party.
Yep. Well, and Brooks, I wanted to bring up a point too about the room number 4 being rented and the ad being placed. Doesn't that all seem way too convenient? Does mom go through and does she do interviews with these people to see if they have children and all this different stuff since she's into the real estate market? Isn't that funny how that comes back full circle? My opinion.
Oh, it does.
In my opinion, Stefan has his clothes and stuff still in room 4. Why isn't it empty?
Of course he does. That's because there was never intentions on renting it out unless it was the right person that came along, my opinion.
And that statement that they made, it makes me think that Stefan and Jen were business partners. They weren't just companionship and best friends. It was a business arrangement.
And the business was Madeline. I hope everyone heard that loud and clear. The business they had was Madeline. That's the reason she said the sex was not evil. but the murder was. That's the reason Jen Soto got a hold of Stephen Stern's father and said he needs an attorney now. There's two different articles. There's one that says they found images. There's another one that's more in text form that says they found the images. Their business was Madeline.
You had moved on to other people, had you not?
Yes.
And so despite having moved on with other people, you were still having Stefan come up and visit, and there were plans to cohabitate with him again, potentially.
Possibly, yes.
Maddie had the opportunity to go visit her biological father in the fall out in Texas. Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right. Do you remember texting the biological father, hope nobody touches Maddie or tries shit or films her under the bathroom? You remember sending that text?
No.
Of course she remembers sending it. Nobody would send a message like that and not remember what the context was.
So it gets a little hairy right here. And then Kate.
You never had any conversations with her about not having her period at the beginning of February?
No, she's had other periods that have been missed or like super late, so I just assumed this was going to be one of those situations again.
Okay.
But no, I didn't.
Did you ever discuss her periods or lack of periods with Stefan?
I don't think so.
It's my understanding that Maddie had to take Miralax. I'm familiar with that myself because of my daughter when she was little. So she had constipation issues?
Yeah.
Would it ever cause her discomfort, physical pain, bleeding?
Yes.
And how are you aware of that?
She would tell me. There have been moments. So we've gone to doctor's appointments. They've run a lot of tests on her. They told me why her body is doing what it's doing. But she's shown me if there was blood or if she's in the bathroom and she just can't go, like it's stuck. She showed me that too. So
did she ever specifically seek treatment for tears or bleeding or anything due to her bowel movements?
No, I don't think so. Tears or anything like that. No. I don't think there was ever a tear.
Okay. On February 26th, the whole purpose.
She took the Miralax because of what Stephen preferred. Okay? Now then, I'm looking at an article. I believe everything I read on the internet. 2 men were busted. This is from January 23rd, 2024, for buying Miralax, and they had 2 young boys in their car. They were cleaning off the shelf, my friends. Was she treated for tears? By the time they do this interview, the medical examiner had already been over every centimeter of Madeline's body. Miralax was not for constipation, my friends. Sorry. Just like the men that went and bought out all the damn Miralax outside of Moody, Alabama, with young boys that don't belong to them in their car, they were not there because they were worried about hard bowel movements.
Of Stefan coming and taking Madeline to school was so that you could get some sleep. You had missed your medication Saturday night, so on and so forth, right?
Yes.
Is there any particular reason Stefan couldn't have driven your car to take Madeline to school and therefore not embarrass her and he could just drop her off normally?
Yeah.
By the way, off topic, if I'm having problems going, I drink black coffee. True story. I do. I drink coffee every morning. I never have a problem.
But because he's not on my car insurance, I was very nervous to let him drive my car.
You did let him drive your car after this occurred though, right?
Yes, but he was very insistent because he wanted to go look for Maddie, and he had a spare on his car because he had a flat, so he couldn't drive his car. So he just really wanted to go out. So I just let him, but I wasn't comfortable with it.
During your previous interviews, and you did it once today, you kind of interchanged I, we, or Stefan dropping Madeline off at school. Did you see Madeline at all on February 26th, 2024, that Monday?
No.
Do you know anything about how she died?
No.
Did Stefan tell you anything about how she died?
No.
Did Stefan tell you about his plans to go back down to Northport in your car that Wednesday morning? Got any questions, Mark? I'm getting close.
I'm going to jump through because I was making notes as we were going on. So how frequently did Stefan come up here after he moved back to Northport?
I'm going to say
How many times total do you think he came back here?
2 to 3 times.
Do you remember if those were around specific dates?
One was like the week of Christmas. I can't remember when the other one was.
Was Stefan in town the week or two prior to this last time he came?
I don't remember. It's possible, but I don't remember. Everything has become kind of blurred.
Do you remember sending him a text message asking if he can babysit Maddie while you go have lunch with your friend?
It was just a few weeks before.
I want to talk about this comment from Stillwaters. It is so true. She said, in my opinion, the Miralax also was literally draining Maddie of nutrients, minerals, vitamins. Hence, she started looking gaunt. That's not really normal for Florida children. The sun beams here. We have another slow decline from her 12th birthday party to her 13th. Now, she definitely looked like she had gained a little bit of weight, and it could just be the photography. Okay?
Yeah, the angle of the photo.
Has anyone thought all the Miralax, that they're so dumb that they honestly thought that it would force an abortion? I would like to know if anybody bought a pregnancy test in that house. It has not been revealed. I do not know. But there seemed to be a big stir in the flop house about her missing her period in February. The Miralax started in May of 2023. In June of 2023 is when Jen Soto said to Stefan, she cannot have Maddie sleeping in her bed anymore because it's too risky. Both Jen and his ex-girlfriend have said he prefers the back door. It's too much to take in.
It is tough.
I remember going out a few weeks before. I don't remember asking him to babysit. I don't know where he was.
Did you ever go to lunch with your friend? And he babysat her?
I did go to lunch with my friend, but I don't think he was here. I think Maddie stayed home alone for a few hours.
Okay. When you mentioned Maddie caught on about you guys being broke up, how did that happen? What did she say? Or
I forgot. Me and Stefan were having a conversation, and she was like, "You guys broken up?" And we kind of looked at her. And we're like, "Why do you ask?" She goes, "Because you guys are kind of acting like you're broken up. You guys haven't hugged and kissed in a long time." And we're like, okay. So we just kind of.
how do you think she felt about that?
Fine. She didn't act sad or happy or anything. You're just like, whatever.
All right. Now you mentioned to me before too that you found her phone on her dresser in like her little bedroom area. Does she have a specific spot where she plugs in her phone to charge? How does she charge her phone?
So on her side of my bed, she's got a long charger. She'll connect it there to charge. Don't know how she charged it that night though. Don't know if she took her charger and moved it to the room upstairs. Not sure.
How do you charge your phone?
I charge my phone with my charger next to me on my side of the bed.
Okay, is it one that you plug in or
It's a magnetic one.
okay? Now, when you go to bed at night, is there any kind of routine that you do with your phone? If you're texting, looking on TikTok or whatever, and you go to bed, you just set your phone down and go to sleep, or what's that routine like?
I'll TikTok until I start dozing off, and then I'll put my phone on the charger, make sure my alarm's on, and then just lay down, close my eyes, and hope not to think of too much, just fall asleep.
Okay, that night, Saturday or Sunday night, when spending this half hour of time together, was all that you were doing was talking about gifts and counting her money, or were you guys doing anything else?
Just asking her for more details about the party and tell me like what I missed. She seemed like she had a really good time.
When you got home from work that day, where was everybody?
I think everyone was in my room, hanging out in my room.
Okay, everybody meaning
Maddie and Stefan were there.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Now it's obvious that you and Stefan communicate via text message and phone calls and stuff like that. What is Google Meet?
What is Google Meet?
Mm-hmm.
That is like Google's version of FaceTime. So just face chatting.
Okay.
Video chatting.
Okay. When her birthday party was planned, was this planned before you got your job or after?
The birthday party?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was planned before. Because once I saw my schedule and I saw that it was during a training day, and I wasn't going to call out. I considered reschedule.
Easy, idiot. You move. The birthday party. You guys take a second and welcome our new friend, Villa. You're going to love it here, Villa. Everybody.
Welcome.
I am so sickened by this bitch.
Me too.
Explain to me, Maddie's phone was supposed to be on the charger in the master bedroom, Jen's bedroom.
Right.
But yet she supposedly took her phone up to room number 4. But yet Jen finds Maddie's phone in Maddie's bedroom.
in Maddie's bedroom, which is actually in the living room. And let's also not forget that in the beginning, Maddie didn't have her phone. That's always been a constant in this case. In one interview, she said she took the phone with her. Another interview, she said she didn't. But also remember, I dropped her off. Who the hell was really in that car? And who is the child that her sister said was caught on camera outside of Santa's church?
Is Jen and Maddie the same height?
About, yeah. But I mean, obviously, Jen's a little bigger than her. Yeah.
It could have been Jen pretending to be Maddie.
Because I could see her laying down in the back seat so she wouldn't be caught on camera. But the dum-dums didn't even think when they got to that hotel after 9 o'clock in the morning. You could be laying in the back seat holding that damn dog leash to keep her sitting up.
I think that's exactly who was caught on camera, that they were suspicious of who that was at the church, too. I think that was Jen walking around, my personal opinion.
Scheduling the party, but my family was insistent to just keep it that day.
All right, so Stefan moves out of his room, and I think he mentioned that your dad had plans on renting that room again to somebody else. Is that right?
Yeah.
How was that room set up? How was Stefan's room set up after he moved out?
Pretty much the same. The bed was in the same location. The TV, the dresser, the desk, and the mini fridge. Everything stayed in the same location.
Okay, was the bed, and did it have comforter, blankets, and all that stuff on it, or?
When he moved out, everything was empty. There was a mattress protector cover on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had clean sheets and clean blankets to put on, like they're available. So
where were they available?
In the closet.
Okay.
And I did, yeah. I let him know they were there.
Do you know if he made the bed?
I don't know, but I'm going to assume he. I don't know.
What did the blankets look like that would be used to make that bed?
They would be white cotton linen sheets with, they're white, but they're white stripes, different shades of white. So white stripes going down it. That was a fitted cover, then a sheet, and then the pillowcases. And there should have been like a warm blanket in the closet somewhere.
The same color, white or?
Maybe gray.
Okay. When you say there's pillowcases, how many pillows were on the bed?
I'm not sure. I know that we had taken things out of that room before. I don't know if we used those pillows. I'm not sure what pillows were there.
Okay. Did you ever go into the room after you discovered that she was missing? Did you go upstairs to that bedroom? No. So when you go to sleep in your room, and you're either with Maddie or without Maddie or with Stefan, is your door open, closed, lights on, lights off?
When I go to sleep?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a cat. I can't shut the door. I have to leave it cracked.
Mm-hmm.
So it stays cracked with a door stopper behind it so it doesn't open all the way because my cat will just run it up. Yeah, but we sleep with the door cracked.
Okay, lights on, lights off?
Lights off. with a YouTube video playing in the background, playing rain sounds.
Okay. Would the screen be illuminated, or is it something where a screen, like a phone, where the screen goes black and it still plays?
It goes black, yeah.
Okay. Do you remember it happened that night if you were listening to those YouTube videos, or?
Probably was. I listen to it every night, so I probably was.
Does it shut off automatically?
Around like 4 or 5 a.m., but then I'll notice and I'll press play again.
Okay. Is it fair to say that
Ramona has a great comment. Her daughter is missing, but she doesn't check upstairs. She sent her upstairs. Why does she never mention going upstairs to look for her?
Jen doesn't go upstairs much. She doesn't know how many pillows are on the bed.
No, but she sent her up there. How does she notice who sleeps through the night and who doesn't when she supposedly needed such? She's so important. You know, she works like a good 10 hours a week. She had to get a good night's rest. That's the reason she sent her daughter out of the room with Stefan. I still wonder if she didn't go to room 4. What on earth kept her up, considering the medication she takes? That stuff, you'll sleep like a log. What would have been going on in that bed that would have interrupted her sleep after her 10-hour fucking week? Uh-oh, puppy didn't like the F word.
you're easily woken up or no? By sounds like that, or?
I'm sure I'm easily woken up. I don't know.
Okay. Now, this purpose of you telling or having Maddie sleep with Stefan upstairs is because you told me before that you needed a good night's sleep. If you needed this kind of sleep previously to when Stefan wasn't there, what would happen?
You mean if Stefan wasn't there and I needed this good night's sleep?
Mm-hmm.
It depends. If I had missed my meds the way I missed them that night and I wasn't feeling, or I was feeling just how I was feeling, I'm not sure if I would have had her have her sleep with me on the other side of the bed, or if I would have sent her upstairs to the guest room. But she sleeps like a monkey. She rolls. She'll start on one end of the bed and end up on top of me by the end of the night. And she's a gymnast, I guess. But
Have you ever sent her upstairs to sleep?
no, not for any of these reasons.
Have you ever sent her upstairs to sleep by herself?
Alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need to wrap this up.
Okay, one more question. Does anybody use your phone other than you?
No, except for the day that we were sitting in front of my house and forensics was in the house. That was the only time I've ever let anyone use my phone, and that was Stefan. Stefan has my phone.
What about, do you wear an Apple Watch?
Yes.
Does it track any of your movements or anything like that you know of? Do you sleep with your watch on?
No, I hardly ever put it on, honestly.
Great question. Do you wear your Apple Watch when you sleep? No. They're trying to track her movements throughout the house. That's why they're asking where the phones are charged.
Yep.
They're tracking
Exactly right.
movements. And she was quick to say, no, I hardly ever put it on, honestly. How can she even say the word honestly? And the million-dollar question is, why does she have no emotion?
Exactly. Exactly right. Well, they even said about her phone movements in the middle of the night. They were asking if she slept all night long because they have the digital evidence to prove that she had taken so many steps in the night. But she said she slept solidly all night long, which was a complete lie, and they know it.
Yeah, her and Stephanie were up all night and slept during the day. They have information.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do.
And
a lot of people were wondered why they were asking such pinpointed, simple questions, because they know the answer to them. They trust and believe. If you're in that situation and they're asking you questions that you're like, that's so simple, why would you ask me that question? It's because they know the answer to it, and they're trying to trick you and trying to catch you in a lie. And that's exactly what they've done here with almost every single question. That's why they go, okay, they know, they've got her. They know it.
Yes, and they do.
The simplest questions lead them to the simplest answers, to be quite honest. There's no new sins on this planet. People just get more creative.
That's right.
All right. Anything else?
Do you have anything real quick, Danielle? Do you have anything that you think we should know, Matthews?
Unfortunately.
Good down there?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, it's 10:06 a.m. We will conclude this investigative interview with you, Ms. Soto. Thank you. I'm sorry.
She first started having it.
Okay, the rest of it you need to catch on the docket. Okay, he has put a lot of time into getting this, but I do want to go back to this right here.
I assumed it was medication related, but I didn't realize. I'm like, did this one medication hit her too hard because we gave it to her late? I called poison control.
I thought this one medication hit her too hard because we gave it to her late. So we called poison control. What would it matter if it's 6 in the morning, 6 at night, 3 in the morning? What medication did we, in quotes, give to her that you had to call poison control? I'm going to start with Beth.
Well, the Adderall. Didn't Jen instruct Maddie to take some medicine? And then didn't Stefan give her more medicine after the fact?
And let's go back to his picadillos, if you know what I mean. With women saying that he likes it when women play dead.
Yeah, for me, it's the THC pills.
Mm-hmm. They're asking her about the THC pills, and that's going to get me into a lot of trouble because people say, it's a flower, it's not a drug. Listen, you give something to someone that's not prescribed by a doctor, and we're not talking about over-the-counter shit, especially a child.
Yep.
When did they give her the Miralax?
What else they give her? You know what I mean? Who knows what else they've already had given her too, and the prescription medication she was supposed to be taking on top of the THC pills that they give her. That's why they asked her specifically about those pills, because they know exactly what it is. They know what was in the system.
They're like, is it in pill form? She's like, oh yeah, they're little purple pills. They're little purple pills.
Yep.
Hang on, what did Kate say?
Did they give the Miralax every day to her also, on top of all this other stuff?
She hasn't cleaned that. She hasn't cleared that up. Hold on. What did Kat say? Pat just said, good point, Kat. What the hell? What kind of genius is Kat dropping in here that I missed? Angel P, can you grab the link? I have a couple of questions about what this would do to a child. If you're too busy, I understand. I miss Kat's comment. Hang on. Okay, I found it. Had to be something legal because you wouldn't call poison control over administration of an illegal substance. That is a very good point. So it's something prescribed to someone in the house.
Yeah, and I think that it's the prescription drugs that she did have. However, I do think that the THC factored into it, and they felt like that the side effects would have been similar to that of which she was prescribed. However, she was given either too much, or they were calling specifically because of the THC things, and they were hoping that it would, again, the reactions would be the same. So hopefully the same treatment from the poison control part, or it was a ploy just to cover their tracks, to say, well, she died in the middle of the night or whatever. And if it comes down to that, they'll say, well, she died because of this and this and this, and that's why we call poison control. It's all a fluff.
When did they call poison control?
We don't have any proof of that. We don't even know if it happened. Kat saying THC is going to be in the talk screen. She said, in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if Seroquel's not in there, because Jen always talks about the Seroquel. She has to take, or she can't sleep good, but she's got to send people out of the room. It knocks her out like a damn elephant under tranquilizers.
Is the Seroquel a replacement for Ritalin?
I'm not sure what.
I don't know what it's used for, but it makes me think, and I'm not crossing cases, of when Summer Wells, they believe she was overdosing, and Candace took her over to Allie's. So we have another situation where I had to call poison control. Well, why didn't you call 911 if it hit her too hard?
Yeah,
because you gave her something that's not prescribed to her.
Yeah, exactly. And the Seroquel obviously is for sleeping, and so the fact that she takes Adderall, but a lot of times people have to have that to come for the Adderall to kind of go out of their system so that they can lay down to sleep at night. So I'm assuming that's the same kind of principle here. Whether or not it's prescribed to her specifically is a different story, because he actually talks about in another interview about Ativan. Well, that's the same concept. So I don't know which is which. So who had Ativan, who had the Adderall, who had the Seroquel? Who knows?
I don't know,
so
but they had
all kinds of stuff.
They had quite the M&M basket, and I'm not picking on anyone
did.
to take, prescription pills. But I mean, how much mixing are we doing? Because his parents talked about how he had to take Ativan, They talked about Jen being a pillhead, that she went from Klonopin to Seroquel. Angel P, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
What are you thinking?
Well, hydroxyzine is not a very strong medicine for an adult. Like you might say that given to a child or a senior citizen. It's really for anxiety. You know how you can break out in a nervous rash or whatever, because it's actually categorized in that category. Like if you had a rash and you were nervous or whatever, they would give you the hydroxyzine. Now, one of the side effects is that it causes drowsiness. So a lot of people do take that at bedtime. Now, the Seroquel is actually classified as an antipsychotic, okay? But there are people that take Seroquel that are not psychotic, because if people have a mood disorder and they tend to be kind of agitated or anxious more than depressed, for example, the Seroquel will help straighten those thoughts out, and also causes a lot of drowsiness. Like back in the day when I worked on the Geropsych unit, if somebody was acting out or being aggressive, we would give them Seroquel. The thing that bothers me is that Ativan, which is lorazepam. Because if they had mixed their lorazepam on top of the lorazepam by itself would knock Maddie out. Okay? It would knock Maddie out. That is not common to give that to a child.
Mhm.
That on top of hydroxyzine, I feel like she would just be, I don't want to say, I almost said a bad word. I almost said something inappropriate. She would be knocked out asleep.
Mhm.
Now, all of these things that we're talking about are going to have a neurodepressant effect on the body. Okay, the Seroquel, the Ativan, the hydroxyzine, the marijuana. You know, so it's a terrible, terrible thing. And I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure that Seroquel pills can be purple sometimes. Somebody might have to that takes it or might be more familiar with it may have to correct me on that. But different dosages or different colors.
Mhm.
Because the mention of the purple pill, that makes me think of the Seroquel because it had a lot of purple going on with it when it first came out.
Yeah, I don't have any THC pills, so I don't know.
Mm-mm.
It said hydroxyzine is also called Benadryl. I was given that one time. I mean, I can't remember what it was now. It wasn't for allergies. And I mean, if you look at the history of his exes, Jen Soto, who is, she makes Candace look good today.
Yeah.
I believe that the drugging was definitely done on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they say that the Ativan given in high amounts is a muscle relaxer.
Ativan is the same. Ativan, lorazepam is the same as Xanax, the same family. Alprazolam, okay. Benadryl is diphenhydramine, so it's actually a cousin of Atarax. But you got to have a prescription for hydroxyzine.
So why would she call poison control? We're going to listen to her words again. If she thought something hit her daughter hard. Here's the whole thing. If someone can drop our playlist in here, we have a long playlist on Madeline. Who in their right mind would be so worried about their child that they wouldn't call 911, take them to the ER them damn selves, but she calls poison control?
Well, now she did talk about that one time in that interview, didn't she, where there was a so-called mistake, okay, where she had given Maddie her medicine and then Stephen had done it also. So, any type of medication that has a sedating effect, you give too much of it, and that may have been why she wasn't easily arousable. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hate to think of what they gave this child.
And this is why this child couldn't go to school, because she was unconscious.
Exactly. And was sleeping in class a lot, or had her head down, I believe they said, because she had that hangover feeling. And then Jen tried to say, well, that would depend on what time we gave it to her. Which I don't buy that either.
Too hard, so I had to call poison control. No. Everything is prescribed to a person based on their medical history, their height, their weight. So nothing's going to just hit you hard. Poison control is if someone gets into freaking bleach.
That's right.
You freaking idiots.
Well, that just goes to show you the recklessness that she is anyway, because if you have a kid that's on that kind of medication and you know that it's going to have a hangover effect and you still choose to give it to her late at night, you're a piece of shit mother. I'm sorry. It's just.
You go, Muscle. That's right.
I mean, my gosh.
And birthday girl Kimberly Mann said, well, the pill didn't break the bone in her neck. Just saying.
No, you're exactly right. How did it finish her off? I mean, that's the reason she was probably given medication to get her to that point where she wasn't able to fight back, because she was 13 and she was big enough to fight back.
At that time, yeah. And she was old enough to scream.
Yep.
She was old enough to say, no, I have figured out this is wrong.
Yep.
She was telling friends she wanted to go live in the woods.
Mhm.
Yes.
I think that's why we're here today.
How often would that occur, her being kind of sluggish?
Like every morning or not every morning?
Not every morning. If we happen to give her medication later than normal and routine, that would happen. But
Okay. And were there ever any instances where she had taken too much of the medicine? Perhaps you and Stefan had given her medicine, not knowing that the other person had?
yes.
Okay. This is such an important question. And the way that the investigator phrases it tells me all I need to know. You see, on April 18th, 2024, they already had the toxicology back. That's why they're asking, could it have been without even knowing that the other person? She jumps right in. Yes. Yeah, that could have happened. Forget about the dog leash. Forget about her being carried all around town dead. Forget about her being in the trunk or dumped out by Santa's house. Yeah, that could have been it. No, they already know, you idiot.
How many? Just once or more?
I want to say once.
Okay. Were you taking medicinal marijuana in pill form at any point for THC?
Yes.
And what do those pills or tablets or capsules look like?
They're purple capsules.
Did you ever suspect or confront Stefan about giving those medications to Madeline?
No.
So during this incident where Madeline had been double dosed with hydroxyzine, do you recall any conversation you had with Stefan and inquiring as to whether or not he had accidentally given her any of your THC?
That hadn't occurred to me. I had asked him.
Peculiar question right there.
Oh, it is. THC, hydroxyzine, Ativan, Seroquel. Jen has recently been taken off of Klonopin, put on Seroquel. He's asking specific questions. I guarantee he has the toxicology report.
Absolutely. You know, and I hate to be,
but nothing ever occurred to Jen?
I hate to say this, but I mean, I really don't hate to say it, but anyway, I'm kind of conflicted. But I mean, it's like, can you imagine this poor girl being drugged at night, things happening to her body, and then having to get up the next day and go to school? She had to have discomfort. This just blows my mind. I'm just disgusted by it.
100%, Angel. Yep, I agree.
Didn't the doctor, with her physical or anything else, take blood to see what was in her system?
Yeah, she went.
Yeah, and then they'd have to have a reason why to do drug testing. You know what I mean? Like they would have to be suspicious of something specific to do that.
Mhm. Mhm.
I remember when my children were little, the doctors would do a blood test before administering any medications.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised.
Well,
that they
and
don't
if
do
she's
that
on those
anymore.
controlled substances, she probably had to do a urine test, I would suspect, because a lot of times, like on Adderall and stuff, you have to prove you're taking it. You know what I mean? So you're not selling it somewhere. So they very well could have done that to her, but we don't know what that cadence looked like, and did they give her a 30-day or a 90-day prescription? Who knows? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of factors that go into that, but she would have had to go back occasionally and have one of those taken, I would imagine. So
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, like my middle son was given Ritalin, and the doctors would always do a urinalysis and a blood test, and they would go ahead and change it or put it into a time release. But I guess they don't use Ritalin anymore for the ADHD.
They still do. They still do. There's just other things now that are more newer, like Vyvanse, Concerta, and all that stuff like that. And unfortunately, it also depends on your damn insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we had to go like every 6 months, just to make sure everything was doing what it was supposed to do.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
And its
I
proper
suspect that they
doses and
probably
everything for him.
absolutely, and I suspect that they probably had her on something maybe to help her sleep at night. Because they may have. Who knows? Jen may have told them that she was having trouble sleeping, and she truly wasn't. You know what I mean? Like the mom was in
She
there
was
speaking for
lying.
her minor child, so she
Mm-hmm.
probably told her, she needs this kind of prescription. So when she would go back to the doctor, she likely had in her system what she should have. However, it was the dosage at which she was given prior to is whether or not, you know what I mean? They're looking to see, is there trace evidence of this in her urine that she's taken it and she's taken it alone, not how
Right.
much is specifically in her system at that time, but just is it present? That's all they cared about at the doctor's office. So if it
Right.
was present, that's all they cared about. They didn't care about
Yeah.
the amounts necessarily because there was no reason for them to suspect that otherwise.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes I wish we were on uniform insurance, health insurance, and that people weren't afraid to go to the doctors and
Oh
have their
God,
physicals and stuff.
don't get me started on insurance today.
Oh, sorry.
It's a
Look
whole
at
new no. It's a whole new subject. Tell me. Yeah.
Look at this. Roxanne is new here. And by the way, we are not followers. We're friends. I just dropped the link. I cannot even believe the depravity that went on in this home. And the thing is, it's not like, and I'm not blaming grandparents. Okay. I'm not blaming the grandparents. But considering Jen Soto's father owned the flop house, written out the rooms, her mother was taking the applications, there had to have been some sort of difference in Madeline's behavior. Who on earth, as a pawpaw, would let a bunch of strange people move in around your granddaughter? Welcome, just saying. How are you, sweetheart?
Hold on, let me get my camera off me. I'm getting ready to go dentist.
Okay, baby.
Okay. I just wanted to tell you something. I've been diagnosed with bipolar a long time ago, and
Okay.
I am 60 now. But back like when I was 30, maybe 40, I don't know, somewhere in there. They put me on Seroquel, and I could not shut my brain down at nighttime to go to sleep.
Okay.
So I'd be awake all night, all day, all night. So they put me on Seroquel, and I took that not knowing that I needed to take it when I was flat on my back. But that doctor told me to do not take it until you are in the bed and ready to go flat to sleep. And I would take that, and I did not know I was even in the world. And I told him, I said, I cannot take that stuff. I don't know I'm alive. I mean, somebody could have murdered me and I would have never known. And if they were giving Maddie that, or Jen, or any of them, it's no wonder that they slept constantly, because that mixed with any other thing, is going to do nothing but knock them flat on their ass.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And, you know, if they were giving Maddie anything at nighttime for any particular purpose, that right there is the thing that would make her not know what anybody was doing to her.
Oh,
And that's the truth.
it's impossible to even fathom because she's saying it right there.
Right.
Let's listen to her again.
We know.
I was teaching her how to make a few things, so I mean, yeah, she could, I guess.
What's her normal routine for getting ready for bed?
We give her her meds.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, take your time.
We get ready for bed. I'd give her her medication. She would get in the shower.
Take a long shower, I understand.
Like an hour plus, yeah.
Okay.
She loved it. She'd get out, she'd get dressed, she'd let her hair towel dry for a while, and then she would brush it. We would watch some TV. She'd probably have a snack before bed as well.
Okay. What were kind of her nighttime uniforms?
Welcome, Justin. How are you?
I'm sorry, it's me. I don't know why it's coming up as his name.
Well, my goodness, what am I doing with you? I know who this voice is. What are you thinking about this?
Well, I think I might be a little bit behind, but and somebody may have said it and I just haven't caught it yet. If they're giving, I'm at the point where we're giving Madeline a lot of medications. What about if they're doing that on a regular basis, Brooks? She's going to have some withdrawal symptoms as well.
Well, Madeline has no withdrawal right now because, well, she's dead. But I think that they are pinpointing what's going on because they have the toxicology back. But you're exactly right. That's the reason she could have been jittery. I smell what you're stepping in, girlfriend.
Yeah, just to throw another, don't mean to throw another horrific thing that she had to endure, but, that couldn't have been pleasant for her either if she did experience any of that.
No.
So true. It just goes to prove to you that Madeline had no peace in her life whatsoever. And when she was at school was probably the only peace she did get in her life. And that is so sad.
It was her only safety. The horrific and what she had to endure through her 8th grade to 8 years old to 13 years old is just horrific.
I have one more thing to say, and then I have a dentist appointment.
All right, baby.
Okay. They had me on 300 milligrams of that Seroquel. And if that man, whatever you want to call him, that monster, if he preferred people to act like they were dead, that Seroquel would be the perfect thing to have somebody be perfectly unresponsive to be able to have any say-so over anything that happened to their body. I can tell you that for a fact. And you do have withdrawals if you don't take it. And I wanted off of it. And I had withdrawals. If I didn't take it, I had the shakes. I started sweating. And so what I did to get off of that, I started taking a vitamin called magnesium. And I started breaking my 300 milligram pill in half. And I did that for like 3 months. And then I would cut it a little bit farther. And it took me about a year to be able to get off of that Seroquel and live like a normal human being, because it was so had my brain so messed up. So if they wanted to, yes, if he wanted somebody to act like they were dead or be dead or whatever, so he could do whatever, that is the exact medication, and it's an antipsychotic. But the reason they were giving it to me was because I could not shut my brain down at nighttime. And it was like I was having racing thoughts constantly all night long.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and they put me on that. And let me tell you, they didn't tell me at first to take it when I got in the bed. So when I first started taking it, well, I would take it like an hour or two before I would go to bed, and shoot, I would fall over flat in the floor and wouldn't know where I was at till the next day.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you.
That's horrible. It sounds dangerous, but I mean, remember, we don't give medical advice around here. So Seth Welsh said, whoever is talking knows Seroquel. I want to talk about these grown-ass women, Jen Soto, and someone that I'm not allowed to mention. Her name was not redacted from the court paperwork. Other exes that play dead while he's hitting the back door. Now, look, ladies, this goes no further, okay? Can we all keep a secret? There's 270 people in here right now. I'll fake a headache, and I'll even sit there and go, oh my God, that was wonderful. I can't wait to do that again. But there's no fucking way I'm going to fake dead.
Well, you can if you take Seroquel. And when they're saying they're getting her nighttime meds, well, right there you go. And I'm surprised they could even get her up in the morning to go to school.
Yeah, because sometimes that shit gets on your nerves. I mean, faking dead. I mean, good Lord.
Brooks, the first time my husband ever asked me to fake that I'm dead, a lot of follow-up questions, and then I probably won't see him again.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, what? How about you fake dead after you get me a life insurance policy? Let's try that game.
Right.
Make it for $3 million.
Let's try that game.
Yes. I got to stick around too much longer if I'm having to play dead, or you call me Bob, or whatever. I think it's time for me to go.
Tom, Dick, or Harry.
Gotta be freaking kidding me. These people are pissing me off to no end. And this little girl did not deserve any of this. And I'm telling you what, the depravity this child went through is beyond horrible. Remember, you guys, we got the information from the docket. I can't 100% give them credit because, well, the credit kind of goes to the investigator and to Jen Soto herself. But they bring out a lot of information. That guy spends a lot of time putting things together. So in closing, I'm going to start with just saying, since she's on the way to the dentist appointment, what do you want to say in closing?
I just want to say that in that toxicology report, I would just about bet you that they were drugging her, and he was drugging her. And I would say that in her toxicology report, her back door was probably tore up, broken.
That's why they were asking about tears, bleeding. The mirror kept coming up.
Yep.
Let me tell you what, this is going to be worse than we can even imagine. Now I'll get to Justin Brewster. You used to have a membership in here. I know who you really are a little bit. So what do you say?
Well, just so you know, I'm on his phone, which I'm not able to purchase because I did some, I need to probably not mess with electronics.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. And so now I can't get a membership anywhere on this phone until my phone gets replaced. But my thing is I know we're supposed to, always, if you see something, say something, things like that. But going back to the comment earlier, these poor kids that do say something or another parent recognizes it and turns it in. And then, before they can get help or get out of there, they have to bear that consequence, which is, horrible. But I do feel like maybe, I live not in a small town, but kind of a small town, I guess.
You live in a small town. I know where you're from.
Yeah. And I feel like I've already reached out a little bit, and it is hard, but there's got to be another way to be able to report these things to where, caseworkers don't necessarily, we have caseworkers that go out to the house and put notes on doors because, they either won't answer or they're not there or whatever. And then, of course, the child's going to get blamed regardless if the child said it or didn't say it. Or somebody else turned it in. It's always going to be the child who gets blamed for it or punished for it anyways. So I'm trying to see, what is a better way to do this for the children that's in a little bit more secretive way to keep them safer from their families until, they can at least remove them from the time it's reported.
That is such a great question, because if anyone has ever watched The Trials of Gabriel on Netflix or know anything about what happened to Gabriel Fernandez.
Yeah.
Every time CPS went to the house, he would get it worse. How do you keep a child safe between reporting and when the decision is made?
Yeah.
There is a huge gap there that gets children hurt often. And they know when they get home, I'm going to get it. If I say something, I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
And I agree with you 100%. Angel P.
Yes, ma'am.
In closing, what do you think?
I think I'm disgusted. I think that I hate that our society and people in our society are trying to normalize these abnormal behaviors, attractions, and desires, which are disgusting and evil. And I'm sick of these. The CPS system needs to be completely overhauled. It's not working. How many times have the judge put a kid with the wrong parent, Harmony, whoever? I'm sick of the whole system. We talk about wanting to invest in our kids, invest in our future, and we've got the most sorry-ass system ever for monitoring the safety and security of our kids, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah. I can't agree with you more, because our society is so effed up. We have doctors that take a Hippocratic oath, yet they have no issue ending life. You have all these people, hang on, Angel's back, not Angel, sorry, Muscles is backstage. You have these doctors that are there to treat, to cure, all that stuff. But they have no issue, some of them, not all of them, with ending life out of the womb or ending life at the end. Who made them God?
Exactly.
Why are police not investigating when somebody wants to end their life? There's something going on there. There's insurance money. There's something. Why are they not investigating when a woman goes to have an abortion? They're only doing that. It's not a high school boyfriend, I'll tell you that right now. Something bad has happened. Why are they not investigating it? I know what they say. Oh, it's personal business. It's personal business. No. Somebody goes through a procedure like that, it is because they have been harmed in some way.
And what's the harm in a police officer? Sure, it's their personal business or whatnot. Okay, let's go with that. But you can still come out and question. It would be very easy, I would imagine, to be able to tell if this is a high school thing or
they're going to figure it out real quick, considering she's been taking Miralax and all that stuff. But you're exactly right.
Right. Or if they're on their second or third abortion, okay, now that second one, maybe the parents need some parenting. Maybe it's not that they're not good parents, because kids will be kids, teenagers will be teenagers. But I think that they still need to be looked in, and they can do that in a way where they are still being respectful to the teenage girl, because it could have been an R. It could, from a schoolmate or a non-schoolmate. There's, that wasn't, they just felt like not reporting it, or, for whatever reason, but I agree.
I think you made that so clear with the gap between reporting. Kids go home. We're not talking about adults. And in the nick of time, horrible things happen. Look what happened. Look what happened to Madeline. She comes home from the birthday party. She's got THC, hydroxyzine, Seroquel, probably Klonopin in her system. She's been having loads of Miralax. Next thing you know, she's tied up with the dog leash, and he's throwing her shit away and throwing her in Santa's backyard. After she had been telling kids at school she wanted to go live in the woods. I think that they were getting all that ADHD medicine for their damn selves.
There's just no talent. And one of the other most horrifying things about this to me is that she went to school every day. She did say some things to her friends. There was a reference made in another video regarding some drawings that were made on her notebook, which were like sexually explicit drawings of doing things. And you have to wonder, I'm not trying to blame anybody, but it's absolutely horrifying to think that this child endured all this and there wasn't one person around her that thought to say, what's really going on, or took a different approach to really try to help this girl and support her. It's just disgusts me.
She had a school counselor once a month, she saw, and it was the beginning of the month. And when she did these drawings, why didn't the school counselor reach out to a child psychiatrist to evaluate the drawings that she had?
And every school district has a psychiatrist. They're not there, but they can be called in. Because they're the ones who approve the 504s, not the IEPs, but the 504 has to be approved through the school, either psychologist or psychiatrist. And of course the child's, doctor as well. But
if they make the call, like Kat said, bad things happen when good people do nothing. That's the truth. And sometimes people are scared too, because they're afraid of what's going to happen when that child goes home. All right. In closing, what do you have to say, Muscles?
Oh, Lord, I have a lot to say, but I tried to make most.
We were talking about this case last night on the phone, and you were just getting so pissed, and I was like, "Woo, boy, here we go."
Well, I mean, this is just, it's tragic. It's shocking. Everything that she's went through that we know of right now, and that the sad part of it is we don't really even know everything yet. It's absolutely disgusting. The fact that anybody can commit such a violent and senseless act on a child or any human being for that matter is just very troubling. It's a reminder for us to remember the darkness that does exist in our society today and in the future. and how much every victim deserves justice moving forward. It's a devastating blow to, I would say her family. However, I think that, from my personal opinion, I think that I've voiced that enough that I feel like there were many people in her family that knew. I'm not saying everyone, but I do think that there were plenty of people that were aware of what was going on, or at least had a sense of what was going on. But for her friends and community and stuff, I feel, just devastating for them too, because I can't imagine knowing them and these children trying to figure out, what all happened, her friends and stuff that she did have, I think is extremely sad. I think that her death will obviously impact us and her, entire community for a long time to come. I do think that in times like this, it's important for us to come together, to remember to support one another, and to seek justice for Madeline together. Work towards a society where we can, these acts of violence can be no longer tolerated. They do not need to be tolerated. We have to stand up for violence and hatred. We have to stand up and demand changes to be done in our law system, just like a little bit was speaking about with how do we report. It's important for us to see something, say something, but yes, it is important for us to have very means of doing so that there isn't repercussions. So, and if there's allegations of abuse being done in the home, it's not something that we can be played around with and followed up on in 3 weeks. We have to know, and things need to be done immediately when there is signs and people can see what's actually been going on. We have to get those changed, and we all have to stand together to demand that as a society. But at the end, Madeline's memory will continue to live on. I think that her legacy on this earth will infuriate enough people to know what we need to do to change and to demand it, and to demand laws be changed so that we can protect our children moving forward. I think it's an important reminder for all of us to be very vigilant with our own children and who we have them around. It's important for us to share with our kids the importance of these weird people that exist around us and the monsters that exist that they might not even recognize. I think it's extremely important kids are aware of what's going on and these kind of things that, do occur and are not around. And I guess in closing, I wanted to say that we have to honor her. We have to work towards addressing these problems to a safer, and we have to be compassionate with each other for a safer environment. And Maddie, may God rest your soul and may you rest in peace, sweetheart, because I'm very sorry for what's happened. So,
yeah. Well said.
We lost Fun to Ski. She was supposed to say something. Fun to Ski, where'd you go? Where'd Beth go? Well, geez. All right. Then I'll say something in the end. I'm extremely upset that this went on. I don't care if it was for 5 seconds, but it went on for 5 years.
Yes.
And all the evidence is there. And it points to a bigger ring. A bigger ring. I do not believe, and no one is going to convince me. Well, they can, especially if I hear it on YouTube, because, YouTube's never lied to me before, that the Cox family is not involved. When she sent the message in June of 2023 saying it's too risky for Madeline to be sleeping in her bed, I've just about fell down. They were scrambling about this missed period in February. Jen Soto is a woman. It wasn't that long ago that she was a girl. She understands when we start menstruating. Hell, for some girls, it might take another 6 months to get a period. But she was really concerned about her missing that period in February. She says he visited 2 more times after moving out in December. Okay. Now, the immunity, kicked that out the door. We already went through that. But between the pills, the denial, the giggling, it comes down to this. She sold her daughter out for some dick. Yep. And the next time I hear Bull that talk about how handsome he is, I'm going to puke.
Amen. Amen. And Brooks, that's such a really good point too to talk about is women, please do not have your children around people immediately. Please pay attention to who you're getting involved with if you're single. Do your research on these people. I don't care if you have to dig to the pits of hell. It's worth it. It's your children. Protect them at all costs. Don't introduce these people to freaks like this right here and expect that everything's going to be okay, because it's not.
Mm-hmm. 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 Stillwater said, wait, what did you say, Brooks? Should I go through my spiel again?
Of course.
I said, she sent a message in June of 2023 saying it's too risky for Madeline to sleep with her. They're scrambling around in February because she had missed a period and she was tracking her periods. What mother is going to track a young girl's periods?
Yep.
Unless you have a feeling they're sexually active.
That's right.
We all know. The pills, the denial, the giggling. And when I did say, Bill Hornbetti went on and on and on and on about how handsome Stephen Stearns is. We'll start writing him letters.
Really? I didn't hear that. I'm sorry. That was new to me.
Yeah.
There isn't anything about this case that doesn't just have the whole ick about it.
So true. So true.
All right, y'all. Well, I will see you back here tomorrow. We had an amazing panel. Thank you again to the docket for if you want to watch the entire show of theirs, it's about 6 hours, I believe, 5 to 6 hours. Please check it out on the docket. Please, please, please. People coming after me saying it should only be about Maddie, not what happened to her. My answer is STFU.
Amen.
You can't talk about the victim without talking about what happened to them.
Amen.
And the people that surround them. I hear it all the time in the Sebastian Rogers case. They're like, why aren't we talking about Sebastian? Like what? His favorite color? You think I'm going to sit there and talk about the color green for an hour? Kiss my ass. No, it's the people that surround him. Roxanne, I'm so glad you're here. She said, thank you, ladies. I like it here. Hey, come back anytime. We're live every day. Y'all understand that? We're live every day at 9 a.m. Tulsa time, which is Central time.
And Brooke, let me say thank you for letting us talk about what happened to her, though, because that's what it's important that we get to talk about this kind of thing so that this doesn't happen to somebody else. No, it's important. So I'm like you, STFU for people that say that, because that's what's important here, right? Yes, the victim is important, obviously, but what she was going through is important too, so that no other child suffers and goes through this, because that's what's happening. We're all sticking our heads in the sand and not doing our due diligence and not doing what we need to do and demanding that our society changes, and making sure those changes happen is why this is continuing to happen. And that's what's important in this message. And that's the best thing that we can do for Maddie, is to carry on and get things changed.
And Brooks, I would second that, or to echo that, I was going to tell you, thank you so much for talking and, putting yourself, this stuff on your show and making it a priority, to get it out there. So thank you for that.
Oh, absolutely. Because this case pisses me off to no end. And the only way to change society is start with the four walls around you. Change your freaking home. The government's not going to do it for you.
Amen.
Raise proper children. Enjoy your grandchildren. But yeah, no one's going to do it for you.
No. And don't settle for this bullshit that that's just the way it is. Don't settle for that shit.
No, there's no just the way it is, because no child has to take Miralax to keep her, her bones clean. That's crazy.
No.
Oh, look at that, V. Oakley. Brooks is part of my everyday ritual. That's what I'm talking about. My goodness. You guys are the absolute best. And Mod Squad, I knew it could be a little bit of a mess in here considering the subject matter. But you guys, you do it. You do it and you pull it out every time. I will see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to be talking about Quentin Simon because Billy has had a lot of stuff to say lately about how she has been harassed. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.